do this real quick.
Okay.
Oh, are we supposed to?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, here we go. First
Cheers.
podcast,
Yep.
Part-Time Savages,
This is sick.
number 001.
Man, my wife would be proud of me drinking Jack Daniels.
Do you hate Jack?
No, hey, this is a good story right here.
Yeah, good.
First time we went on a date, I took her and we went and shot some pool and stuff like that, and we're drinking beer, and I look over at her and I was like, "Hey, you want a shot?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm looking at her, I'm like, "What do you want? You want like buttery nipple, lemon drop, one of those, like, girly." She called them girly foo-foo shots, and she's like, "Now," she looked at the bartender, she says, 2 Jacks straight up, neat. And I was like, oh shit. I was scared that moment. I was like, this is the one.
Yeah, that's definitely the one. But isn't she from Dallas? Or no? Or Texas or no?
Yeah, something like that. She's Arizona, Colorado,
Okay, yeah. Midwest.
Yeah, over there. But yeah, I met her outside of Sedona there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling him earlier that when me and you were at the bar one night, and we had got the nice Jack, and then you asked for like the Coke, and I was like, it don't work that way. Like, you go ahead and just take the cheap stuff, and then I'll just go ahead and drink the good stuff.
I swear every time I drink the good stuff, though, it's not the same as like the just regular straight up Jack.
So-
Well, it's because you're not accustomed to it. Like that, you got to build the tolerance for the good stuff, I think.
If you were at the bar right now, what would you order?
Michelob Ultra.
Hell yeah. Oh, simple beer.
Dude, I don't know. I feel kind of tough because I can drink like 12 of them, and I'm
Yeah,
still going, man.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Hunter,
I can't
Use
remember.
that quote like right before you got here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite. I was here for a long time. So AJ would be like here for a good time. He'd just be like, let's just get it over with.
I know the good time's coming for today, and it might not. He might get in trouble tonight.
Maybe. I don't know. We're going like this first podcast, so we're either going to get divorced or go to jail, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah. So, anyways, congrats on Tulsa.
Oh,
Well, that was good. Beating up on all the old men.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I've kind of decided, racing the young bucks and the pros is just way too hard now. So now, I'm
Yeah.
like starting to say I'm the old guy. But one of the guys in the race, I got into a breakaway with this one guy, and he had the rainbow stripes on. So he's a world champion.
Yeah.
And there was 5 of us, and he got 5th, and he rolled around. We're doing our cool down lap, and he's like, "Thanks for beating up on the old guy," and I'm looking around, and we're all, every one of us was 40 plus.
How old are you?
44 now.
Wow.
oh man.
Yeah. But I think that dude was like 50, maybe 55, 52 or something like that, and I'm like, he was just rolling with us.
Is there like an age minimum for this?
So I race mainly masters, masters classification, which is usually 40 plus.
Yeah.
And then they'll sometimes, or a lot of times, what they do is they put the 50 plus in with us. So then you're racing guys that are 40 plus, 50 plus. But like at Tulsa, I mean, you're just looking around, and there's like rainbow stripe bands, red, white, and blue stripe bands. There's everybody on the line's either a national champion or a world champion, and you're just like, it's the who's who.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was cool, man. It was super hot, Tulsa, in June. It's one of the biggest races, I think, in the country. I always look at like Athens and Athens Twilight and Tulsa Tough, and they're both really comparable, but Athens is only usually one night.
Yeah.
Where Tulsa, it's like Friday, you're downtown, it's called Blue Dome, and it's like Athens. I mean, it's just a big party, and everybody's screaming at you and going crazy. And then they do it again on Saturday, and then Sunday's like this epic. I mean, it's probably the most popular race called Crybaby Hill, and they you go up this hill. It's I think the course is like a mile. Maybe it's less than a mile. It's only 2 minutes a lap, but you go up this hill every lap, and it's like, for us, it'd be like going over like one of the, little bridges or something like that. But so people just pack this area. There's music, alcohol, weed. I mean, you're coming through, and I'm like, I'm getting a contact buzz, and I'm like, whoa. But there's got to be hundreds of people here, and then all of them have like these little baby dolls, and they put them on like sticks, and they're like waving them at you, and like, dude, they're just screaming at you every lap, and so you try to go hard on this hill, and it's nuts, man.
What's the elevation?
I don't.
Does it go from zero flat to?
Yeah, I mean it's right on the
like equivalent to like the Fleming Island Bridge or Doctor's Inlet Bridge?
Yeah, maybe a tiny bit higher. It's probably like a little bit more closer, like an intercoastal bridge.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a good 40-second effort.
Yeah.
But it's just, it like goes and then it really kicks like right where everybody's at. And it's just like, you're just like.
And how many times do you got to go around this thing?
Yeah, I mean, our race was 40 minutes, so it'd been 20 times.
Wow.
You know, and then the big boys, I think they go something stupid like 60 laps or
is it still all the big players like Legion and all that, or is Legion still a thing? Because man, it's been a while like since I kind of like followed it as much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just racing again the old dudes, so you know there's some solid, like I said, they're the who's. I mean, everybody out there was on a pro team at some point, but it's like Texas Roadhouse, Monster Media. You know, those are some of the bigger teams, but that's the master side. But yeah, on the Pro 1, Legion's still there, and then now Legion has kind of branched off. Like I think their goal, I haven't really thought about it too much, but they're trying to like kind of make a Legion in every city. So Legion was like Legion of LA, so it was like the Los Angeles team, and then now there's like the Miami Blazers, and there's a Denver team. And so like I think that's the kind of their goal is like you look at like any other successful sports, right? It's basketball, football, baseball. They're it's all based around teams, where cycling is just like it's really weird. It's like there's these teams, but they're not really hubbed in any cities.
Right.
So like you have no if there was maybe like a Jacksonville cycling team,
right,
you'd be like, "Oh, cool, maybe I'll follow those guys." Yeah. But if you look at like, oh, there's Velobrew, and it's like, we got guys from Tampa, we got guys from all over the map.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, that's really cool. Did you like beat everybody by a big margin?
Well, so yeah, going out there, the main goal, I really wanted to win on Sunday, like Crybaby Hill. Yeah. It was just like, check it off my bucket list. But so Friday, the course doesn't play really well to me. It's kind of more of like a sprinter's course. So I attacked a couple times, got pulled back, and I was just like, all right, I'm going to go sit in the back and, let the guys sprint out. So I think I was like 30th or something. And then Saturday, I just kind of was the same thing. I was just going to kind of hide, and, man, I just timed this one surge and just took off, and one dude went with me. And then all of a sudden a couple other guys came across, and we had a gap, and we were gone.
Wow. So
played with those guys for a little while, and with probably about 5 to go, they gave me a little bit of a gap. Like, we started to cat and mouse, and, oh, you pull, no, you pull. And so they gave me a little gap, and I just hit it. And they all looked at it's just like the Tour de France, man. They all looked at each other, and then the dude was gone, and that was me. Like, I even talked to one of my buddies afterwards. He's like, dude, we gave you this tiny little gap, and then all of a sudden you had 30 seconds. And then I was just like, but I was full gas. So, yeah, I ended up winning on Saturday, which was really cool by about 30 seconds. And then Sunday, I really wanted – I think I wasn't willing to lose.
Yeah, at that point.
And so I covered too much stuff early, and then when the move went, I had already kind of like shot my powder, and I was like, crap. And it is what it is. Now you're racing for second, and it's kind of sounds like crap, but I didn't come out there to finish second.
Well, yeah, 'cause I ran into Garrison at Garrison and Lauren. We were hitting golf balls, and they just happened to be in the bay next to us. And then he was telling me, he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna start watching later on," because it was the big day. I think it would have been a Sunday, and so yeah, I think they were trying to finish up a little bit early and get back and watch. But yeah, it's kind of a small world thing, 'cause especially it's kind of far from them.
Yeah, I never would have thought about it. They need to. I don't know why they haven't gone out and raced. I think everybody, if you're watching, if you're a bike, you like bike events, you like or cycling events, riding Tulsa Tough is put it on the bucket list.
Man, I only went to Athens with you that one time.
Yeah.
And it was, it's downtown Athens. Like, it was before I even realized that's where University of Georgia was. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, this is actually like where like the college is, and then all the restaurants have really cool outdoor seating and stuff. But like that event was wild, man. It was just nothing but the whole course is lined with people, and they had like a 5K that morning. Then they have like a running race, like a mile, during the intermission and stuff. But it's pretty neat. It's definitely like those. I'd imagine Tulsa's pretty similar. It's just, does Tulsa go at nighttime like Athens? Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of an all day thing. Like, a lot of the amateur events, and then the pros line up. Around 6. I think the women start, and then the men will go after that. And usually Friday night, it's like they'll shoot off fireworks after the men's race. Like it's like they're coming around like the last couple laps, and they like time it, and it's like, I mean, there's some cool photos where these dudes are just racing their bikes, and it's like pitch dark, and then you see these fireworks shooting up in the sky.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah. So
did y'all drive out there?
Nah, flew. Yeah, that's a long haul.
Yeah,
man.
no, definitely, for sure.
I was like, oh yeah, it's just like I've driven to Austin. It's not that much further, and it's like no, it's like another 8 hours.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. But yeah, it's a good event.
Nice. Yeah, one thing I was telling him before you got here, I was like, there was a couple things that I wanted to ask you about, and like I didn't know if you had followed any of like the new enhanced games that's coming out, where it's pretty much, I think it starts next year. I think it was supposed to start this year in conjunction with the Olympics at like the same time, but it's like pretty much you can dope up as much as you want. And they're having like kind of like the core Olympic events. They're having running, like boxing, swimming. I think they're doing maybe wrestling, just some sports like that. But like you can, as long as you have a paper trail of what you've done, like doping wise, you can come and compete. They still have their own measures and stuff like that. But I was just kind of curious, like especially from the like your running background, and then the running side of that stuff. I mean, do you think? I think their ultimate goal is like break as many world records as possible.
I haven't followed it at all.
So
man.
now they're starting. I think they're starting pretty much a year from now is like when they're going to start hosting their first event and stuff.
Okay.
But like they're trying to. I think they're picking the stuff that's kind of most popular and easiest to brand. But yeah, I thought like, especially like cycling would be a cool one, just because that's I think one of the dirtiest sports that it's just kind of like naturally been that way forever.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know, like to me, like I guess like track and field running and stuff, like I haven't really noticed it being as tainted as like cycling would be. But you think it would be like, you think they're gonna go out and break a bunch of like 100 meter or 400 meter races and stuff, or even swimming? Like I don't know, like
yeah, man, you're going down a big rabbit hole, and I'm pretty vocal about this because I think until the governing bodies until money's not really involved in sports, I think it's always going to be dirty. I hate saying that because I think there might be some people that watch this that are like, fuck you, but I mean, people were doping back in the day. Well, why were they doping? Right? They wanted to win.
Yeah.
They wanted to get the contract from Nike. They wanted to whatever, like it's like putting the lead weights in your fish. Like it's what the frig? What are you getting out of this, dude? Maybe you're getting some money, right? And you get, okay. So until people change, I don't think there's changing. So this might be a good thing, right? You might just be like, hey, dude, you want to, be a doper or a cheater? Like here's your venue.
Avenue. Yeah.
But the other thing they're doing too is what you're talking about. They're offering, I think it's like $1 million for a gold medal in one of their events versus $50,000 at the Olympics that you dedicate 4 years to. That's every 4 years, where this is going to be, like a yearly thing. So and they're going to kind of like market it, I think, like CrossFit a little bit more.
Yeah, you might get some of these guys out. You look at like the Ben Johnsons of the world, and I'm trying to think of guys that just kind of were blatant obvious and just kind of were like, hey, I don't care. It's, I'm taking the risk. But, yeah, I don't know if you might not break too many records. I mean, it just depends on who you're getting, right? You got to still be in the top 1% of that sport as an athlete. And then you got to say, okay, cool, I'm going to.
But I think that'd be kind of interesting though, because then it'll be, if you are one of those, I think what they said so far, a lot of their athletes are like professionals, where it would have been, now they're just kind of getting a little bit too old.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're like, well, hell, I might as well just, dope up as much as I want.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of interesting to see if somebody was super doped up, a year retired or something from the Olympics, and if they're still going comparable, maybe it does make the essentially quote unquote clean people, look a little bit dirtier if they're.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just, it's hard for me to believe in Santa Claus, man. I followed Lance to the grave. I mean, dude, I followed Lance all the way to the end, and then when he looked at Oprah and was like, "Oh yeah, I did it," and I was devastated. So
did you have to cut your yellow wristband off at that point?
I still think I wore it for another couple weeks. There's a story about that actually. I used to own that running store. And this is when Lance was on his downfall, and I don't think he admitted yet, but a customer came in, and I had my band on still. I was like one of the last dudes, and he's like, "Man, it's cool for you to still be you're still wearing your band." And I said, "Yeah, man, I think there's more to it. It's a good cause, and blah blah blah." And so he looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, man, it is a good cause." And I said, "You know what? Who are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, a couple years ago, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I went to, some of the local places, Mayo Baptist, and they were having issues trying to figure out what was going on." And he goes, "Last minute, I just decided to call the Livestrong Foundation." And the guy said, "Holy crap, you had the same thing Lance had, from whatever that testicular cancer was." He goes, "Let me get his doctor in touch with you." And he's like, "Oh, sure, whatever." He said, less than 24 hours, Lance's doctor calls, and he goes, "Hey, we need to get you out to Austin, blah, blah, blah." So Livestrong Foundation paid for him to go out there, did all this stuff, and he goes, "This is why I'm standing here today, is because of that yellow band." And I mean, I got chills, dude.
Yeah, I
like,
just got chills. No,
and I was like, man, I'll keep wearing this thing, dude.
Yeah.
And so, you can look at the Lance and yellow and all that, but dude, that dude was affected. One of my buddies passed away, and he had the esophagus cancer, and Lance sent him a message. Didn't know the guy.
Yeah.
He just said, "Hey man, hang in there, dude. Like there's always another, there's a rainbow on the other side, and so anyways, without going down, all those things, but yeah, I think doping is, I mean, I always look at it as like, look at the guys who got busted, but then their records got broken.
Yeah. No.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
And like I said, I know definitely talking about cycling, but something that goes in the same hand to hand is, the baseball era back then. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, and look what's happened. Only them guys can't even be inducted into the Hall of Fame at this point. So it's what's right is right. I kind of stand on your signs. I think there's definitely people that's fell through the grade of things as to there's definitely more dopers out there that didn't get caught. Mm-hmm. So it kind of sucks probably for the guys that were very good, but it could be different in cycling. Maybe it all came out with these were the dopers, these were not.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I did watch the Lance Armstrong documentary recently. I think there's a new one out on Netflix now that I haven't got to, but yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. Even like the Oprah interview, I think everyone has seen that thing, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But then what about like the technology side of stuff? Like, obviously there's all the other things with, lactate and all that good stuff now. Like, are people just getting smarter about it? And that's why, you're starting to see more records broken again? Like,
yeah, I think there is, there's some 1% stuff out there, where it's like, okay, cool, the shoes are getting better, the tracks are getting better. Right. Swimming, the suits are getting better.
You got to take all your bar tape off now for any kind of climbing.
I mean, it
TTs,
is.
like,
dude, I mean, guys are wearing freaking water bottles in their, in their chest plates, in their speed suits. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's still those 1% here and there, and so maybe that is balancing it out. And I would like to say, I've got some really favorite cycling people right now that I follow, and I'm like, again, I'm kind of going down that wormhole, and I'm like, dude, I would be devastated if this dude was, was doing something because, he's an American and he's young and he's kicking butt, where, like some of these other guys, I'm just like,
Have you noticed a lot has changed? You feel all like the running stuff as much?
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed like when you were running, from middle school to like the middle school kids now?
It's insane right now. Oh. There's middle school girls faster than I was in middle school. And I was fast. I mean, I broke 5 minutes in the mile in middle school, and like girls are doing that. And I'm like, well, they can't be doping. Yeah. So maybe that's, there you go. Maybe that just says it right there. 'Cause, the middle school and high school kids are considerably way faster. I mean,
why do you still have any, like your high school? Did you ever have any of the track records or anything like that, or cross country?
Yeah. The only thing I had left for a while was like the half mile, and that got broken. But I'm more just looking like across the scene. I mean, Citrus County is probably not a great representation of distance runners. We had a couple for a while, and then
even one of your friends at Nice.
Oh yeah,
I mean they had a stud for a bit.
Yeah, Reinhard Garrison. He's the first Floridian kid to break 4 minutes in the mile, and I mean forever Florida. I mean it was like 4:12, 4:08. Yeah. I think Sam Vasquez ran 4:04. It just kind of kept ticking down every year. And again, these are high schoolers, so they're definitely not. You're hoping. They're definitely not. I mean, not that many. I mean, just the mile in general. Like kids are breaking it every year. They're breaking 4.
Yeah, that's insane.
Right. Like
what for that distance? Like, what do you think? Like your peak age is?
Man, it's hard to say. I mean. Some of those guys run really well into their 30s, mid-30s. I mean, how old's Kipchoge right now?
But he's also not a miler.
Right. Yeah. Mile, okay, that's probably, I think Bernard Lagat has the mile world record for 40 plus.
Oh, okay.
And, that's for, he's that age plus, but, he was still racing in like, I don't think he was in the Olympics, but he was like in the U.S. championships or whatever. But so, yeah, it's insane. You got 18-year-olds that are racing, 35-year-olds, and it's probably pretty competitive.
What was your favorite distance?
Definitely a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, as far as like the tactics go, does it change? Because I know the one kid that ran for Nike, I don't even want to try to butcher his name up, but I know that like he was a slower miler, but the way that like the tactics played out, it was like one of those things where it never got into that 100-meter sprint. Like he went early.
Yeah.
And then I even watched that, not to tangent, but like that one girl that went out crazy hard on the 5K and then opened up like a huge lead, and that was her shot. And then I think she still ended up podium or something, or fourth.
Right.
But like the tactics, change a lot in those, or is it just one of those flute races?
I think it comes down to what you're trying to do, because I think the World Championships and the Olympic Games now is, man, if you're not fast over the last 200 meters, 150 meters, like you're probably just not going to podium. even if you take the pace out pretty hard, it's just like you got to be really fast, and they just become tactical races. I mean, Jenny Behringer, she's from Oviedo in Florida. She's a world champion in the 1,500 meters. Same thing. The race was super slow, and she's fast. Don't get me wrong, but she came off the curve with 120 meters to go, and I mean, she just took off, and it was just like, holy cow! And I mean, she couldn't believe it. You can watch the video. I mean, she's just like devastated that she won. But it became a kicker's race, and she just blasted with 120 to go. So, yeah, I mean, like, these guys are still, pretty much running mile records, in these races where they'll, it's perfect weather. They got pacers out there. They got the lights on. The crowd's going crazy, and then they'll run fast then. But now, like, Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr, I mean, they're going back and forth, and Josh Kerr just has an amazing kick right now. Like, I mean, he just sits on Ingebrigtsen, is
that the Norway
kid? Yeah. And I mean, he's been breaking, the 2 mile. I mean, he's breaking a lot of records. Yeah. Josh Kerr ain't slow either by any means, but he just got a better kick.
What's your take on the diving finish?
The diving?
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of tacky.
We had asphalt tracks back when I was in high school, so that would have been bad news, man.
Yeah, to me it's kind of it's almost like your Hail Mary, like you kind of know.
So they're diving now?
Yeah, it's like the thing.
Well, here, throw this out at you guys, man. Like, if it was the gold medal, would you, would you like dive over that line? I mean, I get it if it's just the little summer league, track meet. But man, you're gold medal or not a gold medal?
Yeah. Anything at that point, especially if you're at the line where it's that close.
To me, it just seems weird, like, because you never watched, way back in the day. Like, I feel like that's something that's one person did over the last couple years, and now you see it more and more. Not more and more, but you do see it from time to time. Man, are you working on that Zen sponsorship?
I like Jack Daniels. That's good.
Oh boy, get Owen on some Jack.
Well, yeah. So with his Zen, have you? I noticed in some of the other sports and stuff, like even like a lot of the NASCAR drivers now are like popping Zens like mid race. Has there been a cycling thing?
Don't know what it is. Don't even.
It's just like straight nicotine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never kind of gone down that rabbit hole. I think I was like 14, and my dad had Skoal mint long cut.
Hell yeah.
Dude, we were out running the streets at midnight one night, and I snuck out a can, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna take a dip, and holy cow, man!
Like Sandlot,
dude. I've never spun.
Oh my god!
I mean, oh man, I was twirling, and then I was throwing up everywhere, and I was like, from that day, never again.
Yeah.
Dude, I
was hoping that I could be that way.
Right,
I'll never forget my brother Daniel. We lived next to a church, and there's like a tire swing over there, and he brought back a can from, I don't know, like St. Augustine or something. Skoal Original was fine cut wintergreen. And we're like, heck yeah, we're going to pack us a dip. Well, I don't know, 13 maybe. He was a little bit older, but maybe 13. I don't know. I put that shit in, boy, like, hell yeah. Got on a tire swing. I was already spinning before I got on a tire. You had a tire swing on with that? It's like, what? And I think I even would pray.
It didn't neutralize it? You weren't spinning one direction and then
I thought I was going to die. I think I literally said,
yeah.
if I can make it through this, I'm never going to do this again.
See?
And, but for me, I didn't make it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, obviously I didn't, 13. I don't think I messed with it until I was like, 15, 16, 17. But
right.
I played baseball all my life.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of, even back then, 90s, well, early 2000, it was still, all the big leaguers were doing it, and it was like, you were cool, baseball, obviously high school didn't, no one, allowed it,
right.
even I think college, even early or later 2000s, I think college boys were trying to do it, but I know NCAA, they just, it was forbidden. But what's crazy is I was watching the World Series, the College World Series this past week, and I did see Zencan in the background a couple of times.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know how that works, Nicotine's a horrible thing, it's
look at caffeine, man.
Yeah, no, it's same, and it comes. I think I'm not no scientist, but it kind of comes through the same, caffeine, nicotine. It's kind of in that same chemical because caffeine's a nicotine or a chemical at the end of the day.
Dude,
and
it's
so and like I said, this Zen stuff and all this pure nicotine. Who knows what it's going to be in 20 years? Could be just as bad as anything else. But for me, it's a lot cleaner.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so it's you can hide it more. Yeah. But it is what it is. But yeah, no, NASCAR's using it big time. Yeah. They come out with a lot of celebrities that are shoot. I don't even know if we're allowed to name drop, but
Yeah, I just didn't know if you had any athletes that were like taping them to the top tube, like.
No, man. No, but if they found some type of advantage, I'm sure they would,
Well, I just like we were talking about like earlier about beta blockers and like they're illegal in like bow events and stuff because it helps you. It's almost like I guess like Adderall.
Yeah.
Just help you focus and everything.
Well, that's one of the cycling guys got in trouble for that.
Well, I saw a funny stat. It was I think it was like 90% of swimmers have asthma, so they could they just get their doctor write them an asthma prescription. So that's kind of interesting, especially with the Froome stuff a few years ago and stuff.
Yeah,
are triathletes the worst athletes to coach?
Probably
gotta be. Yeah, I'm sure they have so many excuses.
Yeah, well, I've got different avenues on everything, man. Sometimes it's, dude, every athlete's different. Like some of them need a kick in the ass.
Bro.
Some of them you're just like pulling the reins like all day long. It's like had an athlete the other day, and it was like, came off. So I give like a recovery week every couple weeks just to allow adaptation, let the body heal up. Get your nutrients back in you, just catch up on sleep, catch up on work, life. It's like, it's really awesome. And I got an athlete that, comes out of the recovery week and they're like, oh, my hamstring is bothering me. And I'm like, your hamstring's bothering, and they're like, oh, well, I decided to go play tennis with my partner. And I'm like, I said, this is your recovery week. Like, where's tennis in the mix, And so that person, just always go. And other people, man, it's like, I'm like, I can't come knock on your door in the morning and say, let's go. I mean, I can, but it's going to cost way too much.
Yeah. I feel like you did that to me a couple times.
Well, no, that's why I wanted to get on that because, I think AJ probably wasn't the best one to coach.
Man,
let's be honest.
Yeah, sometimes I spin the excuse wheel. You wake up and or you get dropped. That's the worst. But sometimes I felt really good when like we were cruising down A1A and we'd be on the way back, and you're like, man, I'm feeling it today. I'm like, oh, thank God, man, because I'm feeling it too. Mm-hmm. Like, do the old gate station, Coca-Cola and Fig Newtons, and get you that last like 20 miles. But
and for the record, I'm not no cyclist whatsoever. Thanks to AJ, I got to dabble in it and got to feel some kind of stuff. I don't. Who's the one kid that the one? What's the one kid? We went on a ride. He's from down south. Girlfriend. Yeah.
Down south.
Yeah, he's down south. I think he's a runner. We went on a bike ride. What's his name? A kid. I could give some details, but I don't want to.
Don't you know? I'm trying to think of who we all rode together with.
Girlfriend gone.
Oh,
older woman.
Oh yeah.
Are we not allowed to say that?
My buddy Nick.
Yeah, his buddy Nick. Yeah.
I was gonna be like NG, you know.
Yeah, because I think I was on the TT bike.
Hey, he's gonna be pumped he made the podcast because
Yeah,
he didn't get an invite yet. It could be a guest.
Yeah. So just a little backstory. This fat boy over here, but like we went out. We left their house. Them two. Obviously AJ feeds off anybody that he can beat. Or if there's a little competition, he's gonna shine. Let's be honest.
I like to.
Yeah, so they're. I think we're at the warm up at this point. We pulled out the house. I don't know how far we got, but
that's the problem. In the warm up, we were like race pace right out of the gate. Just right next to each other, and it's like 290. 290 for me is way above my power threshold.
And I don't even know how many miles we got in. Maybe how far to the road that takes a right, I
think it's like 3 miles.
No, it's more than
209 south. So 209 south from my house is like
it's pretty quick because
3 or 4 miles.
I've done it a couple times. Where I'm like, this is all you're warming up.
I made it down. No, actually,
you made it to like to Shiloh.
Yeah,
and then he's like, well, we could just do a little bit harder pulls.
Yeah, well, no, I was trying to get, but obviously I was freeing too. Like I would ride their wheel, but I was doing it wrong because I would get I would let it free in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Like he back pedal,
right?
Coast, pedal,
yeah,
coast.
You got to smooth it out,
right?
Yeah.
But at some point, I tried everything.
Coach, man.
Yeah, I tried to stay with them, and eventually, I think they ended up. I don't know what y'all rode that day. I think I only got. It was well over 30 miles that you guys got in.
Oh, I think we were like probably double that almost.
Yeah. So I made it 30. I know that. Yeah. And I made it 30. And because I ended up trying to follow them through the neighborhood. I got lost. And I didn't get lost, but I was just right at this point. And then I was like, screw it. I think they passed your house. You passed your house going back.
I think we ended up like looping back or something. Like that's the problem with, that's one thing that's nice with riding with Owen is like, you don't do all this stupid. That's one thing, we got some friends in Georgia and stuff that, dude, they turn a whole day event.
Right.
They're getting lunch.
Oh, yeah,
they're riding back from lunch. Doing like.
I'm go, man.
Dude, I'd rather just go get it over with, get back home, start my day.
Well, I'll never forget. I got back to his yard and I just let the bike fall in the yard, and I laid there, and was like, holy shit.
Yours being dramatic though.
Yeah, no, I'm a certain. You got to figure a guy that's never biked. Obviously riding bikes as a kid and thinking you're a badass doing some BMX and, mountain bike shit, riding Huffies and shit. It's a whole different caliber, At this point, I'm riding, with all the shit you're on there, I know it's still a cheap bike compared to what you guys ride, but shit, I probably had like $5,000-$6,000 in that thing. And it's like, carbon wheels at that point or whatever those, I'm like, it's everything I can. And I think you guys are on y'all's gravel bikes.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
but I do remember he's got that nice P2, P3 or something, with race wheels and all that good stuff.
But I enjoy riding it, and I'm way faster. Like I said, I did one little sprint triathlon, and I, obviously in the rookie group or whatever you call it, it's
Clydesdale?
Novice. No, fuck you, fucking Clydesdale. But I pulled a third there. But I was on a gravel bike too. You know,
okay.
So
definitely had to stay for awards that day.
Dude,
no doubt. I want to, obviously I want to do it again as well. Like I said, but that helped me out tremendously. But obviously I'll never. You get the feeling like, oh, you could get faster and faster and faster, but at some point,
well, you do. You make a huge. You do this really fast, but then it's like this. Requires like that extra. If you got any young kids, if you like are in a rough marriage, you're getting a divorce.
No, it's a super fact. So like I said, I got mad respect for you guys, and like I said, I can't go anywhere. Owen's, let's call it what it is. He's famous. He's the fucking man. Let's be real.
Infamous.
Yeah. So the guy's insane. So I don't know.
Yeah, turn the phones off.
Well, with AJ, I honestly,
I'm gonna interrupt you because I was training way better when you lived out by me.
Right.
Because I was like,
So
I had to be.
I'd ride by your house.
Yep, and I'd be out there, and he just like, I'd open the garage door, and he'd just be sitting in the driveway.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey man, I'm feeling super good today." And I was like, "Oh, damn,
it took him
I'm not feeling very good today."
Remember that one day I just turned it into a power test on you? I was just like, we're just gonna keep going. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, but then and the other problem is like we used to have so many good routes leaving my house, and now there's 5 new neighborhoods. There's 15,000 new homes, and it's like just so saturated with people and cars, and even when you take the back roads, it's still, you get so much traffic. And then I know you had an accident when you were out west, getting hit, and then I know you had an athlete that got hit, and it's like,
dude, it's crazy.
That took all my motivation away. Like I'm just a weekend warrior. I don't want to go get hit just to talk on a podcast about how I finished first in my age group
right
at the local triathlon.
Yeah.
That's the only downside anymore. But it seems like and obviously I think Florida's the worst state out of all the the whole United States for cycling accidents. And
a lot of old people.
Yeah, I don't know that, or everybody's trying to do a stop sign breakaway.
Well, there's dude, when you're out there, you gotta have your head on a swivel, and you gotta be paying. It's like riding a motorcycle. You gotta be very defensive and put yourself in a good position. I mean, it just my incident was just random, and it was like, I could, I'd done that route 30 times and I've never gone that direction, and that time I went that direction, it was like, why did I do that, and so it just kind of put me in a bad spot. But dude, I kind of tell people, it's like surfing, like
the risk,
right, dude, you're gonna go out and surf, there's sharks out there,
there's a lot less sharks than there are cars,
right, exactly, but like if you went to Australia where there's a lot more sharks, probably better waves and more adrenaline and all that stuff. But but I agree with you. Like what I was getting to is like, well, yeah, there's sharks, but you don't want to go. If you see one, you're not going to go out there and surf around it. You're just out there doing your thing. And I think the cars is the same way. It's like there's cars out there, and then there's like cars that just shouldn't be out there, right? If they're drunk or they're impaired or they're they can't see over the dashboard or they're texting or whatever, that's the shark that is looking to eat,
Yeah.
So
true.
But yeah, back to AJ. I mean, he improves quickly. He's like, no, like seriously, like if I could get him to put like 8 weeks solid, 12 weeks solid together, he improves so quickly.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen it. And I'm just like, dude. And then it'd be like, 12 solid weeks, and it'd be like 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
And then
I get hurt.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Shanoa about it, I think like 2 days ago. I was like, man, it's one thing, because I've been pretty lazy here the last few months. I was like, I think the last time I got sick was like the end of January, and, but then when I was working out a lot, I feel like I was getting sick like every 3 weeks. And, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, especially because, I'm like 115% in. And then, I'm like trying to ride your wheel, 3 days a week.
Right.
And it's just taking everything out of me. And then I'm like, I'll finish working out and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just go get like a salad or something, and, and not actually taking any real food.
Dude, nutrition is so key. I mean, every year it's like just learn more and more. And it's like, that's like the end all be all, man. Like,
has your like diet changed a lot from like the new stuff that's out? And obviously, like when Morton came out, Morton was everybody and their brother was on Morton.
Yeah, I think from there's fueling, right? Fueling would be like, what are you doing during, maybe post or pre? I'd call that like fueling, and then nutrition would be like, what are you doing what are you eating, right? And I think that's where everybody goes wrong, or not everybody, but a lot of people go wrong, and they're not eating enough. They're not eating the right things. They're, it's like carbohydrates are crucial, man. And people that don't eat carbohydrates, like, dude, you need carbohydrates for your brain to function.
Yeah.
like, you know, or high intensity workouts, and then protein. Like proteins, how do your muscles get bigger and stronger? From protein, you know. And so it's like people get on these diets and fads and things, and it's like, you know, just you for instance, you're like, oh, you know, I want to eat a salad, and then it's like, dude, you just did a 3-hour workout with Owen, and it's like you're depleted, all your glycogen's depleted, right? Your muscles are starving, you know, they're trying to repair each other, no protein, you know. And so just that, like, I think the biggest thing is like when I get off the bike, dude, I'm like straight into the kitchen, or it's already prepared, or I'm just warming up leftovers, and it's like I'm eating within 30 minutes just to get, and dude, like that's the next day's workout right there, you know. So I think, you know, that's probably was part of it too. You know, you're kind of trying to balance that off, and you know, it's hard, man. You're trying to, you know, pro triathlete, and then you got to come work, and then you got 2 kids to take care of, and then, you know, you got to keep your wife happy. And man, I mean, I threw all that away just to, you know,
go beat up on old guys.
Yeah, just
Tulsa?
to become a national champion, man. I mean, it's like, don't go to work, you know, don't hang out with whatever, don't have, you know. So yeah, yeah, bro, he's right when you're talking about like that little extra percent. You get rid of all the other crap in your life, dude, you can go be whatever you want to be. You can be the best damn fisherman in the whole.
Oh no, definitely. You don't put in the work, and it's just like now it's where it's at. It's like I just show up. You know, I don't even pre-fish. You know, I'm on the water 5 to 7 days a week. You know, I was a pretty good hammer. You just show up and show out.
Right.
You can see the difference. But sometimes it's like, you know, I get it. I'm very competitive, and shoot, you know, you throwing, you know, doing whatever to be the best. You know, I feel like we only got a certain, you know, timeline here to achieve certain things. So like what you've done over the course is, you know, freaking amazing. So, you know, you as well, you know.
What's your goal for this year? Trying to go get a world spot, or?
You know, this year Worlds is I want to say it's in the Netherlands somewhere, and I kind of checked out the course in advance, and it didn't seem hard enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be fun just to go do it. You know, it's just like
it is, but it's expensive.
Oh, is
it?
You
know, I mean, it's like yeah, it'd be fun. I mean, it's, you know, went to Scotland last year for Worlds, got 14th. It was an amazing event. You know, just everything they do first class.
We got engaged. That was most important.
Yeah,
that was why you really went.
Yeah,
and they just happened to have a bike race that same weekend.
Yeah, definitely. You know, but yeah, I looked at this one, and you know, it just
like real flat and fast, or
I mean, it's probably hilly and technical, but it just I'm at the top of the age group in my age, so like, you know, it's crazy. They break it up into 5-year increments, and it's like when you come in, you're the young buck. Like, you know, 5 years is you know, it doesn't seem like a lot, but so, you know, I was like, you know, I'm gonna put all my eggs into 2025. When I turn 45, I'll be the young buck coming in. The race is in Australia.
That'd be cool.
I'm like, oh, that's freaking, you know, never been to Australia. And then they just released the course, and the course is freaking hard. I mean, it starts with a 6-mile climb, like right out the gate.
Nice.
I'm like, all right, that's
an
an opportunity.
Lactic, like out the ass, right out the gate.
Right. Yeah. If you don't warm up for that thing, you're in trouble. So yeah. That just looks better for me. And then like I said, it's hard to travel abroad, and you know, I go over there, you know, probably 10 days early, so you're housing for 10 days and food, and I mean, I
love racecations though. Like, you know, when the last I think race I did was Augusta, and you know, his family came up, and then we had a house on the race site, or on the run course, and you know, Augusta's not the most ideal place because everything shuts down at 5 o'clock and nothing's open on Sundays after the race, but you know, it's fun. Like, you know, if you get out there early, you find some cool spots, and you know, you're kind of making the best of it. But you know, I like Wilmington was a lot more fun because a lot cooler city for, you know, bar hopping and stuff post race.
Yeah, there's some good spots. But yeah,
Australia would be cool.
Yeah, Australia. Yeah, but I think for this year, it's just, I was spending a little bit more time growing my business. I've been kind of focusing on that. I've got a couple athletes that are developing really well. Got a young kid who's 15 who's just tearing up the scene. So I kind of
cycling or running.
Cycling, yeah. So we race together. I mean, that's how cool it is. I'm 30 years older than him, and he's that good. I'm like, all right, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
So like I kind of committed this year to him. I was just like, man, I got to get my butt in shape, because if I'm gonna help him in races,
Right.
like I gotta own it. So and then there's a couple other athletes that are doing really well, so I'm just like, all right, I'll just help out. But then it always happens this way. Like along the way, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna help out my team, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got second here, or I won Tulsa, or or even, man, I think I've gotten a dozen podiums this year. Just being like, all right, I'm gonna be out there and be a factor, and then all of a sudden I'm in the move or whatever, and it's like, crap. All right, I guess my team's back there, like. I can't quit, or I can't get dropped, because they're working really hard to to help out. So
does the training differ a lot from like if you have like a sprinter versus someone that's I guess more built like you, where you want those big long climbs and you're trying to go off the front? Do the workouts differ? Like you got them doing like a bunch of short stuff like towards the end?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I mean I feel like, there's maybe a tiny bit, but I think for me at the end of the day, what we're doing is an aerobic sport, and so how I approach everything is really focusing on like building the aerobic engine, or building just a stronger stamina.
Yeah.
Usually the sprinters they have it or they don't have it, right? Like, for me, like I can work.
I guess they still have to get to that point too, where they're even
Right.
in the sprint.
Right. And that's like, for me, I'll maybe touch 1,100 watts, 1,200 watts in a sprint. I'll never hit 1,200. And I'll work on it, man. I'm like, dude, I'm talented. If I practice, I'll be good at it. And I'm like, dude, I just don't have the fast twitch muscle fibers to do it. Maybe and maybe shame on me. Maybe I need to get in the gym.
Yeah.
And work on that side of it. And but I've got athletes that all my athletes can out sprint me every day of the week, right? But dude, they can't. If I take them out for a 3-hour ride, they're tapping out, man. They're just like, dude, this is what the heck, dude. You don't stop pedaling, and I'm like, yeah, let's go, man. And so, like, that for most of my athletes, I'm like, dude, you guys you have this finish, you have the power, but you're not strong enough, right? You just don't have the endurance, and so that's my approach. And and the guys that do have a little kick, they naturally do it, man. They'll be at the end of a group ride and they'll sprint. Where I'm just like, I'm not going to sprint today. I'm going to lead it out, and it's like, and there's a hill, they'll sprint, they naturally just do it all the time. And so they're in the, so I think part of it is like the sprinters, if I was training somebody on the track that was doing like real short explosive stuff, but like, dude, it's aerobic, man. You look at like Michael Phelps, that dude spent hours and hours and hours in the pool. And I think his longest race was under 4 minutes. I mean, the dude, hours in the pool, right? You think he's just doing sprints? No, he ain't going to do sprints for hours. He's just swimming.
Yeah.
Dude, his longest race was 4 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, most of his races were two and a whatever. So that's aerobic capacity. I mean, that's just, he's got to be efficient too. He's working on his efficiency and his stroke, but dude, we're doing cycling races. Our shortest race is 40, 50, 60 minutes, where some of them are 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I did 6.5 hours yesterday.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
like,
Well, and
everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, dude, man, it's like,
I love the long rides like
Yeah.
that. And I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I kind of gauged everything off of like when we were doing the weekend, the beaches ride. And it's like, I remember getting shelled like the first 3 times, and it's like then the first time you make it to the sprint, and it's like, okay, like I can do this now, like, new achievement unlocked. And then I'm never gonna, especially those dudes on the beaches, like if I could just make it to the sprint, I'll just let them, like they can go, like they've stuck me out front a few times, and it's just I'm just in the way at that point. But it's like, to me that was my achievement was to just make it to the end.
But that's the strength, the endurance, right? It's not you could stay with us the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour. You had no issue. But when it got to the last half hour, it gets hard. Yeah. And that's the difference. It ain't,
well, especially on that ride. You hit the big, I guess the intercoastal bridge, like, and that separates stuff real quick. And then it's like, you make it to Michler's, and then
like he could come out and hang with us for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But if we wanted him to improve, we'd work on the endurance, right? And just like before you know it, it's 10 minutes and it's a half hour, and then you're doing a whole loop, and you're just going, dude.
I remember when you and I were going out with you leading up to Worlds, and you were like, oh man, like I remember we'd go out like on a Wednesday, and it was just me like doing 30 seconds as hard as I could, and then you'd sprint around me, and like the only thing I could think of is like in that whole build, I was like, I was like, man, I'm gonna fall and I'm gonna take Owen out. Like after he's been training all year for this race, and then I'm gonna be the one that like makes it so he can't go, because I'm gonna like I'm gonna skip a gear, or I'm gonna like just completely lose all skill level.
But that was me trying to sprint, and and it's like, oh great, my sprint went up like 50 watts, and it was like, no, I'm over 1,000 now, and I'm like, awesome, which and when you're in a 2 or 3 up sprint, like if you time it right, 1,000 watts could you could pull off a win. It's just again, you got to be there, right? Like.
So like when you're out there yesterday for 6 hours, what was your power? What were you trying to aim at, or what was you trying to sustain or stay?
So yesterday I split it up. I did 2 rides. So I rode in the morning. Was just an endurance ride, probably riding around 200 to 240 watts, just zone 2, right? And then in the evening there's a local group ride. So I met up with one of my athletes, Trent, and we went out and rode a little bit before, and then we hopped on the group ride, and that was my goal with that was to do some threshold efforts. So for me, all my pulls were 360 to 380, and just kind of pulling until my heart rate got to a certain point, and then I would pull off and then let a couple other people go through, and then just go right back to the front again. So that was, just kind of working on that threshold side of things.
What is your heart rate at that point?
When I get to about 170, in the high 170s, it's, I can start to tell, like, I'm like, all right, you can just feel the lactate starting to build up. And, but it's as I've gotten older, my heart rate's, it's come down a lot. And I think just even I've gotten stronger, like, you think about cardiovascular output, it's the pump times how many times it's pumping. So your heart's a muscle. If you make it bigger, all of a sudden you're pumping out more blood. You don't have to do as many beats. So maybe that's part of it. I think I'd love to maybe even understand the science a little bit more of why athletes, heart rates tend to their max heart rate tends to come down.
Yeah, definitely come down. I remember before this whole thing, I was, resting heart rate be like 100. Now I'm
you got a couple more chins then too.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm freaking out sometimes. That should be like 49, 48.
So the pump is bigger, bro. You don't need as much.
Yeah, so it's like definitely. Honestly, on a high day, it's 60 resting heart rate.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and like Miley, my wife, she's sometimes scary. She's down in the 30s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's going a lot, right?
She was. This marathon kind of kicked her ass, man. She from going from nothing to, in 3 years running a marathon.
Yeah.
Old lady, 40 years old, you know. You know, yeah, but yeah, so she's developed the whole runner's knee.
Oh, man.
She's been to the OJI or whatever it's called. Nothing, you know, but you know, she's still out there plugging, but she's not nowhere near as fast or anything. I think she's just kind of like on a comeback.
How long ago was the marathon?
The Donna. So when
February?
was that? Yeah.
Okay.
Was it February?
Yeah.
And she's just kind of not been the same. As soon as the marathon was over, she like took, I don't know, like 5 days off or something like that.
No.
And then she was kind of still running her 10-mile Sundays and stuff like that.
You
but
gotta call Coach Owen, man.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Dude, but I'll send you there's like I think Mayo or somebody did this thing on like what happens to your body in a marathon.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, one, you're running a fever, right? Because you're heating yourself up. You're, you know, like your body basically shuts down, you know, and so they're saying 2 to 3 weeks you shouldn't do anything just to let your body heal.
Yeah, she's definitely not the same runner at all. Like she's doing some 3 mile. I think like after that crash, she'll do maybe a couple runs a week, 3 miles, and like her pace is like 10 minutes.
Has she taken any time off?
Yeah.
Okay.
She ended up having to like.
I was gonna say, tell her to just take 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And
Now I don't know if she's went a complete 2 weeks without even a run.
No.
You know, I think. Well, maybe she has. I don't know.
If she hasn't, I'd say take 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Go. You know, just you gotta let your body like, dude. You know, it's hard because. Yeah. You're like beating on, like we're talking about the nutrition, the hydration. Your body has to catch up on all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then it's off.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, it's not going to function naturally, you know.
Yeah,
so.
she did the whole training. Like I was dude, she took that so serious.
That's
like
awesome.
She was, you know, she did the, where you go and then you start backing down, what's it called?
Yeah,
like,
tapered off.
Yeah, like I think she did 20 miles total. Like, like that was like the highest that she went was like to the 20 miles, but
good for her, man.
Yeah, dude,
that's cool.
It was everything for me to do the half marathon, man. But I think I kept it at like my goal was to keep it at like a 10-minute pace. I forget what, I'd have to look it up on Strava what it was, but dude, I'm telling you, mile 9.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, you know what? I was like, I felt so good at mile 9 that I was like, screw this.
Yeah.
When I get to the finish line, I'm gonna keep going.
No.
And then like mile 10, dude, the brakes fell off. Like, but I still, you know,
AJ didn't tell you about those gels and stuff.
Well, I gelled it up, but dude, you know,
All
just a dumb redneck out there, just, you know, and you know, thanks to you know, my first half marathon was in North Carolina. You know, I didn't even think I could, you know, back then 3 years ago or whatever it was, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. I've never thought in my life I could run 10 miles. And then it's like, you know, realistically, do I think I could run a marathon? Probably not.
Yeah. It's a crazy event.
Yeah, you know,
I mean, the dude, they named it after died after he did it, man.
Yeah.
He finished and he's like, he's dead. And they're like, oh, we better call this.
He died?
Yeah, the first dude, he ran from Greece to marathon. He got there and he died.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's like, the history is like he was running to tell that you know Sparta's gonna invade or some you know folk legend. Dude got there and died. That's why they're like, oh, this is a great idea. Like, I feel like I wanted to start a race and it'd be like 22 miles and then like call it like almost a marathon. You know, or like
how anybody would do it.
The new marathon. Yeah, but everybody would be happy. They'd get to 22 and they'd be like, oh man, I felt great the whole time.
Yeah.
Like nobody.
I remember when I ran the Donna, I felt great because I had it in my head. Everybody's like, oh, but you get to 20. You get to 20. It's like completely different race. I get to 20. I was like, I feel great.
Right.
I got to 23 and I saw you and I was like, I'm hurting now.
Yeah,
like,
and if it would have been 22, you would have been like, dude.
I got 5K left. I was like, I just got to make it 5K. And then we had the wind.
Oh, yeah. I remember that year.
It was so windy.
Yeah.
And then I had like a small little group of like 3 I was running with. But yeah, it's always.
Yeah, I cried like a baby during that whole thing. I don't know why. You know, my sister had breast cancer, so I was doing that and just, man, it was so emotional for whatever reason. I don't have a clue, but just the sign, just the everything. And then like Miley, you know, I had her on the racetrack thing.
Yeah.
And, watching her and just knowing what she put into this. But by that time, the storm was coming in. I got to finish. It was raining, windy, and I'm just like, and I can see her on it, and I could see that she was maybe slowing down a little bit at 23.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God. And then she texted me as she's running. I don't know how she did it or watch. I don't know what the hell she did, but she was like, tell me I can do this. I was like, oh my God. Like, I just cried.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I'm like, yeah, babe, you're almost there.
Yeah.
You're like 3 miles. And like, but when she come across that, she looked like a drunk rat that come across, and she just looked like she was just so defeated. And I couldn't even imagine, because whenever I got done with like the half, I was just like,
yeah, you were done.
Yeah, I was done.
She had to
I just
go twice.
twice. Yeah. And and I don't want to be wrong. I'd have but definitely like a 9 something pace, or like
that's what
it was, and like I was like, I did a half in 10,
right?
And this broad just did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a loser I am. But it was crazy. But like I said, honestly, straight up, I've said before, I would not be anywhere or have done anything remotely. Miley as well. AJ doesn't get enough credit. He probably wants to, tackle me or beat me up, everything. But if it wasn't for AJ, 100%.
We had
changing lives, man.
Yeah.
Changing lives.
Well, it's even when we were talking to future podcast host or guest Jared earlier, I was showing him pictures of us at the Asheville half, and he's like, Brian ran a half. I was like, he's trying to have like multiple halves. I was like, I got him to do a triathlon a little while ago. He's like, that Brian? And I was like, you should have seen him when he had like 4 necks. So we had to pull up a picture of you with 4 necks.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, it's fun. It's good. Tried to go down the competitive side there for a little while, trying to keep up with him, but it's pretty tough. And then AJ as a coach, kind of an asshole. So
well, dude, that marathon though, like my wife, she's a track and field scholarship runner.
Yeah.
Right. She owned multiple records in Arizona for track and field. She's like, I'll never freaking do a marathon. You guys are crazy. Yeah. Like, she literally will tell you that to your face. Yeah. And I mean, that's coming from a runner who's been running since she was this tall. And she's like, I'll never do a marathon. Like, no. And it's like,
was she a miler?
Yeah, dude. She ran. She was under 5 in high school.
Wow.
For a girl, like, which is
my son is. I think he got in the 5s this year.
Okay.
But
there you go.
It's not.
How old is he now?
He's 16, man.
Oh man, we gotta.
He's done. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
sorry.
Buddy.
What's his name?
Cody. Yeah.
Sorry, Cody.
Yeah, he doesn't put in the time or the effort.
Well, that's it. He's out fishing with dad every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's what.
But like, we had a decent kid. I think we talked about. Yeah, you're just saying these days in high school, if you're not running 4s, under 4s,
in the 4s, Yeah, I was 419, and I got a scholarship to a JUCO school, right?
Yeah.
And Ariel was sub 5. I mean, multiple state championships. I mean, you can't even count how many state championships she won. But she went to NAU, which is just the powerhouse. I mean, they've been the cross country powerhouse for 20 years. But that's she could have went to Florida State,
right?
She could have went anywhere, right? With the grades. But yeah, I've got a buddy. I was working with this kid named Zach, and he's same thing. He's like 422 right now, and like, it's like, dude, 422 was badass back in the day, and like, he's having issues going to a school. I mean, he'll get into somewhere, but like, I was like, oh man, but he ain't going to Stanford or any of the big schools. Like, he's gonna have to kind of maybe find one of those other schools. But
even watching,
and he's probably walking on.
Yeah,
he's going, dang. But hey, that's
I've learned a lot just going to even these big meets and these cross country like bowls and like just these kids. I'm like, holy shit.
Bulls is legendary, man. Gosh, especially the girls' side. Coach Ryan over there, dude. He just puts them out. I mean, just
I think Creekside didn't do too bad. Have you heard of anybody being decent at Creekside?
Absolutely. You know, it's kind of crazy, man. The whole running scene around here. You know, and I'll probably botch this a little bit, but there was one coach back in the day from Bishop Kenny, and we're talking in the mid 80s or something like that. And gosh, man, I wish I'll remember his name at some point. But he basically coached with or coached all the coaches that are in this area now. So when you look at like the Frank brothers, the coach Eric Frank and David Frank, they were at Bartram and Creekside. They were coached by this coach at Bishop Kenny. Coach Ryan, he used to work with them. They were like assistant coaches together. The Bulls coach, the boys coach, same thing. He ran for Bishop Kenny under this Coach Kern. He coaches at Bishop Kenny now. Like, dude, they all Coach DeVos at Nice. He worked, Nowicki. All these guys, like, just like a big group of buddies, and hey, this is my coach. And so, dude, that's why I think Jacksonville's like just been phenomenal. I mean, these guys are all kind of, I think they share the secrets, and they're all on the same page.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely cool to go watch.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're from a little town, Baker County. We don't got much to offer out there, but like I said, like I told Cody, do something. Run. Do something. Try to get better. But he don't have the grit.
Yeah. What do you think? You think AJ's kids will have that grit, or you think they'll be kind of follow like the
well,
are they going to follow
my hobbies differ.
They're going to follow AJ's
steps? I don't know if we're race cars or golf or
what week
running.
What week it is.
That's scary.
I don't know, but if they follow Mom's footsteps, I mean, she seems to work pretty hard.
Oh, definitely. She stays tried and true, I think, all the way through.
Oh, yeah. As soon as my throat's a little scratchy, I'm out.
Yeah.
And she'll be out there with, like, strep throat.
Right. Well, she's out there 8.5 months pregnant, still dropping 10 milers and going.
Because on Charlie, she, like, ran that morning. And she's like, I think we need to go to the hospital.
Yeah. So hopefully they kind of follow Mom's footsteps. We'll have two pro triathletes or something like that.
Well, Char might be in the Clydesdale.
I don't know, man, because the baby right now, she's 10 months, and she's like the average weight of like a 15-month.
Really?
Yeah, she's thick.
But she's pretty tall too, ain't she?
Yeah. So we're gonna do. We already discussed, because on Charlie, Owen kept telling us to keep pushing her down, and like I don't think she started walking until she was like 11 or 12 months. So this one, we're gonna get her to walk really, really soon. No. And we're gonna see which one plays out a little bit better.
No, Jordan didn't walk until he was 22 months, man.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah, Michael Jordan. It works on their core and their hip flexors. You got to keep them down for as long as you can. Like it's
wow. Did you really do that to Charlie?
Yeah, we kept pushing her down,
dude.
And I kept saying, I was like, Owen keeps telling me we got to just keep pushing her down, keep pushing her down.
My sister and brother-in-law, same damn thing. I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna have an athlete if you let them walk too early. Everybody thinks that's like the achievement. It's like no, it's you got to be patient. You got to be patient.
We're doing one way. We got another one going the other way.
So then you'll know on the third one. Is that what you're saying?
No, it won't be no third one. But we're gonna see which one goes.
Well, if the mailman sneaks in there might be a third one.
Right. UPS guy.
Yeah. Amazon.
Amazon.
There's no mailman anymore. So
it's crazy.
Should we go down that rabbit hole with kids being a little chunky nowadays, or we just leave that one alone?
I think it's all kids are chunky anymore.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm here. I'm open to hear that. I'm curious.
What's your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm asking why.
I think it's the food. I think it's the shit.
Yeah.
We eat shit.
The standard's McDonald's is okay.
Yeah, I think all of our food's full of poison at the end of the day. There's just so much research to back it up. It's we're not eating the same meals that we ate. Obviously I'm 40 this year, September, but I feel like everything 40 years ago, or just call it 30 years ago, was organic. I don't think all the I know we had a big garden growing up as a kid, and we ate out of that. You know, we raised our own pigs. You know, obviously been avid hunters our whole life, and deer, and even cow, just chicken.
Chicken.
The chickens these days are like pterodactyls. You know, like, what are we shooting these things with?
Yeah.
It's not even the same. You know.
Yeah, brother. And I go to like a chicken wing place, and I'm like trying to count how many chickens there are in just that one bar, at this restaurant that night. And I'm like, dude, there's got to be 40 chickens just right in here right now. Like, where did these chickens? I mean,
what's the turnaround? They're growing them in like a month or something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy what's going, you know, and that's why they, you know, this whole engineered, you know, I guess they said they couldn't keep up with the demand, you know what I'm saying? Like, without turning this stuff, and us as humans now, it's, you know, we're lazy people, you know, we want the convenience of food, you know, like think about, you know, even as a kid, there was, McDonald's and Burger King and like some Crystals and stuff, but that was like a reward. Like, that'd be like once a month for some stuff like that.
And then it was a small meal.
Yes.
Bro, you remember like you get the fries, man, and it was like that, right? And there was probably, 25 fries in there, and you're like, and then the little, you got the little cheeseburger, man, and that thing was tiny. Yeah. Like, I would get done and I'd still be hungry.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be like, you know.
That's just like, I went to Nashville about a year ago, and, you know, I try not to eat shit, but we went to this nice Italian restaurant, I mean, kind of fancy, kind of well-known there. I forget the name of it. But anyway, we go in, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get me a chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
You know, God. Or what is it? With the red sauce. Is that chicken parmesan? No, what is that?
Chicken parm's got red sauce.
Yeah. Dude, I swear to God, this fucking chicken, I'm not fucking, and you can ask my wife and everybody there, this fucking chicken breast was this, dude, it took the whole, and I was like, what are y'all serving? Pterodactyls here? Like, I've never seen a chicken breast, it covered the whole fucking plate, and I'm like, I ate it, and it was good, but that bitch, I've never seen a chicken in my life like that, dude. And I used, you know, we used to take care of our own chickens.
It's like when you go to the fair and you see like the turkey legs.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, I've never seen a turkey with
What's even like the you know, even what you're cooking. You know, you put it in perspective. You go hunt a wild turkey, and take that turkey compared to a butterball turkey.
Yeah. Never.
It's not even close. And the taste isn't close. There's nothing about it. But I think everything's just.
But it's even like, but what you're saying with the like the pasta and stuff. Even when you go overseas, I mean, it tastes so much better. Yeah. And you don't, when you're done, you're not like, ooh.
Yeah, if I eat pasta now, dude, like we went to Maggiano's, dude. I think it took me like 7 days to recover. Like, I swear, like, don't eat that shit. Like, it's a disaster.
Glyphosate.
That's
what they call it.
Yeah, glyphosate.
Glyphosate.
Ain't the same shit in Roundup or something?
Yeah. Exactly. I always tell my athletes, dude, don't eat pasta the night before a race. I'll tell them eat rice.
Yeah.
Just eat rice. Is a ticket.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no.
How much rice did we go through on that Ragnar run?
Holy cow, dude.
Like, are you getting, like, any special rice, like organic rice or anything like that?
Dude, maybe I should, but you know, I feel like they haven't like screwed up rice yet. Maybe you know, maybe I'm wrong.
But it's also a lot different when you go from like minute rice to real rice.
Yeah,
you know, it's like 1-to-1 water to rice cups. But then when you go to real rice, it's 2-to-1.
Yeah. So if you take anything out of this podcast, don't eat pasta before your big race. Eat rice.
Yeah.
Pasta. Yeah, I've had just too many athletes, and they come back and they're like, "Oh, I felt tired today for some reason." I'm like, "Oh, what'd you eat for dinner?" And like, "Oh man, I had a big bowl of pasta and da 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 da." And I'm like, I just like shake my head. I'm like, "Dude, just go to Chipotle." Mm-hmm. Like,
Chipotle is
like ticket. Right? They tell you it's all clean and natural, and you know the chicken's little chicken. You know, it ain't a
100%
big fake chicken.
Yeah. Definitely cleaner food for sure.
Yeah.
Rice, little olive oil, salt and pepper.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the thing is
that's the ticket.
Just the seed oils these days, you know, like the vegetable oil and all the, you know, highly processed oils, you know, like.
But the real good stuff is like supposed to be really good for you.
Yeah, like tallow, tallow, ghee, you know, avocado oil.
They say to like take
olive oil,
like a cup of that every day or something like that. It's like good for your
healthy fats.
Yeah.
You know, even like grass-fed butter,
Yeah.
real butter. You know, we've been, lied to.
Where do you get
forever.
that at?
You gotta dig for it. We get it,
Oh,
but like
man.
Whole Foods,
Okay.
Costco.
Because I eat a boatload of butter, dude. I guarantee you my.
Get
not
the Irish Gold or
Irish
whatever.
Gold, okay.
It's grass-fed butter, and it's not,
We had some over in Scotland when we were over there, dude.
Irish butter,
Bro.
Yes,
Bro, it was like chip and dip, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, everybody's taking these crackers and the butter. I mean, it's like, I mean, we were done with a tub of butter in like one sitting.
yeah, and it's all it's healthy fats.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, it's all this margarine is just there's so many. If you look at the labels and just see how much shit is in it, man, it's yeah.
That's one of my bad habits. That, and I like sweet tea.
Oh.
Yeah, and see, I got off all that. Like, 'cause I haven't had a Coke in 3 years for sure.
Oh man, I had one last night.
Yeah, no Coke,
Dude,
no.
I had that Mexican one.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's
Oh.
real sugar, though. It's cane sugar. It's
Dude.
actually better than the high fructose corn syrup that's
See?
in
I went to
these Cocoa.
I was at Bold Bean right before my second ride, and I was like, I was kind of feeling a little tired. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna. And they have the
glass bottle.
Yeah, the glass bottle, and
yeah.
I mean, dude, I started drinking it, and I was like, this doesn't taste like Coke,
Right.
because it tastes totally different.
Was it? Did it taste good to you?
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
dude! I drank it in like 30 seconds. I mean, shout out to Bold Bean.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, yeah, you definitely got to give Bold Bean a shout out.
Yeah, if you guys are,
But that's a real
local.
Coke. Cane sugar. That's how it was made. Now it's all high fructose corn syrup and shit. It's like when you
Okay.
go over to Costa Rica. I was
Yeah.
over in Costa Rica, and they don't have that shit. It was in a glass bottle from Mexico. It's literally high or
So why?
man, I think it's cheaper. High.
To produce all that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just high fructose
Well,
corn
it's like when
syrup.
they're cutting everything with fentanyl. They're just cutting it.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier.
It's just all these other ingredients, but you can. It's out there. You can look at over in England the ketchup bottles side by side, the same ketchup bottles.
Yeah.
Look at the same exact stuff, but look at their ingredients to our ingredients. A lot of stuff's banned over in other countries.
I've heard that about Australia.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
legal here.
Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy, man.
You ever seen the labels in Australia for like tobacco and stuff?
Dude, I haven't seen. I
says
don't know
it
anything
will
about
kill-
Australia.
Yeah, it's
this
got-
will kill you.
If you buy like a pack of cigarettes,
Right.
it has somebody with like their lungs,
Yes,
like
yeah.
black lungs
Blowing
on the front.
up, yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
just so you know,
Yeah, same
this
thing.
is what you're about to ingest.
yeah, same
Like
thing.
that would be smart, but
Yeah.
like,
I think
yeah.
Mexico is the same way. I think because
Costa Rica was like that for sure.
They were
Like, because my buddy Jose, was wanting to take his
Your buddy from
cigarette.
Costa Rica.
Well,
Jose?
no, it's funny. He's American. It's
Whatever.
crazy. His name's
I was like,
Jose.
you made that up, dude.
No, I swear. Jose. Yeah, shout out to Jose. But he gets over there and like his vape done exploded under the plane or
Oh,
whatever. I don't
dude.
remember, some crazy crap, or maybe he didn't even bring it. And he gets over there and he's like, man, I gotta have something. And of course, there's no vapes or anything like that.
Dude.
So he gets a pack of cigarettes, and like the whole container is like black lungs,
Yeah.
like you're saying,
Yeah.
like this is going to kill you, 100%.
you get dip. It has
Yeah.
like a guy missing half his
Yeah.
mouth.
Bro, I
Yeah.
feel like this is like a industry we could take advantage of. You know, like we go down to one of these places that just like introduce them to like garbage. And just here's
Have you ever heard of sugar?
here's sugar. Like I'll just sell it on the street corner.
Dude, I ate so clean over there because
Yeah.
there is no processed shit over
Right.
there.
Yeah.
It's you're eating whole foods
Yep.
and fruit. Like for I don't know, I was over there 2 weeks. You're eating fish, what you catch, some great fruit and rice. Everything's
Yeah.
fish, fruit, rice, just tropical, organic, just regular food. 2 weeks, I felt like a machine over there. I come back here. I get here, the first thing I want to eat when I get home is like, I'm going to get some McDonald's. And this is back in like 2016 or something.
Okay.
I get McDonald's. Let me tell you something. I never shit so much in
Oh,
my
my
life,
God, dude.
buddy. Like I was clean. I cleaned my whole
Yeah,
body out
the whole
over
gut
there.
your gut was like back.
Yeah, you come here, and I ate this shit, and I felt like freaking shit. And I was like, what is wrong? And that's when it kind of opened my eyes like, holy shit, we were eating clean. You didn't see no fat people over there.
Yeah.
Everybody was.
You hardly ever see fat people when you go to Europe or anywhere outside the U.S.
And then you get back here, and it's like we're a bunch of lazy, fat people at the end of the day. And I was that guy, but I still never felt. That's why I say before, you know, and I was made up to 250 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I was stronger then. There's a lot of fat there too.
Yeah.
But just unhealthy, you know. Goddamn.
Well, you said your heart rate was 100.
100 resting heart rate, just literally doing nothing. Like, and it's like, holy! I'll never forget,
That's
dude. My first mile. Yeah, my first mile. I think my heart rate got up to like 202.
Dude, what?
And my cousin Keith, you know, I was proud of myself. I was like sending, because I used to run all the time. Like running was nothing. But then I was like, I could do that anytime. And then like it took me like a month to be able to run a complete mile.
Wow.
Like I would run from here, like, I don't know, a couple hundred feet to a stop sign and be like, I'm like, oh my God, this is a problem.
Yeah.
This is a problem.
Wow.
And then it took me a month to create the whole mile. And then when I got to the mile, it was like 202. I didn't know nothing about a heart rate. I'm like, that thing's still kicking. Keith's like,
dude, you're gonna
bro,
die. Yeah.
you should not, like, your heart rate should not get that. Like, you know, you got to calm down a little bit. And then I started taking it serious. And then I would, but, you know, still to this day, as much as I don't run as much. I try to get 3 miles. I know it's a piss poor excuse, but it's got a lot of shit going on. But, you know, I'm still trying to run, 3 miles a week. But my heart rate still gets up to like 176, 180.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't start off that way. It's like, 100, and I'll stay for the first mile. I'll be like maybe 125, 130. But like at the end of that, I'll end up finishing like 176. But it's only in that 160 to 170 range for the last little bit. I might be going a little bit
Which is funny
harder.
because it's about 100 beats from your resting, right? Your old resting was 100, when now 200. I didn't think of that. I mean, it's just like, that makes sense.
AJ's got a good story. I don't know if he wants to go down that with the whole when you went to the cardiologist.
Oh yeah, and they told me I was like pretty much about to die.
Yeah,
and then
because
it was one of the breaks that I had to take. I'd probably put together like 12 good weeks.
I thought that was just some bitch ass excuse you had.
No, it was for real.
Yeah,
I was
Tell
like,
the story.
Yeah, because I had to. I went and they were like, "Oh my God, your heart rate's too low." And I remember, like, at the end of the day, it ended up being like that, like the athletic heart syndrome.
Yeah, they told you you're abnormal, and you're like abnormal to everybody that walks in here.
Yeah, and like, because I always try to like see how slow I can get my heart rate whenever they're taking my pulse.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's like kind of like a game.
Yeah,
and they're like, your heart rate's like 38.
Right.
They're like, do you run a lot? I was like, no. She said, do you run the river run? And I was like, I've run the river run. Like.
You should have told her you want it.
And then
I want it.
It went. She's like, you don't need to be exercising, and it went down this whole thing, and that was, I think that was like 8 weeks out from doing Wilmington that 1 year, and then I had to take a break. I had to go to the cardiologist. Yeah. I thought I was dying, and I'm not even really like a hypochondriac, but I was like, this is it. This is how I go, and we had, and then after I went, you had got me hooked up. Actually. One of the guys, you had got me in touch with the guy on the group ride. That guy got me hooked up with a cardiologist downtown. And I think he used to work on one of the Spanish cycling teams. And I walked in there and he's like, dude.
Yeah.
He's like,
exactly.
He's like, they're like, primary care people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They deal with fat people all day.
Exact same thing happened to me, dude.
And like, they don't, so when you do go in there and you're somewhat healthy, they have to like red flags the whole time.
Dude, same thing happened to me. They did all that. And then they said, I called up my buddy who was a Ironman triathlete, and he's like, yeah, come down, I'll look at all your stuff. He's like, dude, no, you're abnormal because you're not the normal person they see, dude. You're fine.
Well, they went to go do the stress test.
Yeah,
and
I had to wear the.
Yeah, I was like, what's the record? They're like, I think we like 14 is like the highest, or like 13. I was like, okay, and then I went to like 14 and a half minutes or something, and I was like. At that point, I was like 203 heart rate. But I was like, well, at least if you get your heart rate up that high, and if there is anything that's red flags, it's going to show. Yeah. But yeah, same thing. So then, that completely killed the build to Wilmington.
Right. And, that lady, we're going to have a talk with her.
Yeah, we'll get her on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing happened to me when I got my gallbladder, but it was actually the opposite.
You actually were dying?
No, she because the nurses.
Abnormal.
So
It's
like
the opposite of
when you're laying there in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
And your heart rate, you're hooked up to the heart rate thing all the time, and alarm goes off like when it gets down to like 40 something.
Yeah.
I think like 43 or something. Well, I'm having to push this button all the time, and like the nurses, they're all freaking out. The doctor was
You're like
super
on that
cool.
on like Lost. You every like 8 minutes you had to type in the code.
Yeah.
They had to come check you out.
Yeah, for sure. But the doctor, she's a runner, thank God, and she understood. And so I just finished that little sprint triathlon. I was, biking a lot, running, swimming, everything. And I was in the best shape of my life, but like obviously sitting in a hospital bed doing nothing for 3 days, you're very relaxed. You're very, at that point, like resting for sure was like 40s.
Yeah.
And, they were all freaking out. And the doctor was like, no, he runs a lot, She called me a triathlete, but I really wasn't. I did little.
That's a good question, right?
Yeah, and
are you a triathlete if you finished a triathlon?
Well,
Absolutely.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did a sprint, guys.
Hey, that you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
I did my first one because my dad told me I couldn't.
So somebody that like competed at Kona, if
you're on the same
right,
level
if
as
he
the
walked
sprint.
up, you're like, hey, I'm a triathlete. He's like, hey, I'm a triathlete.
Yeah.
Is it?
Hey, I did swim. I did do the swim course in Kona.
Did you?
Yes, I went there to Hawaii,
Dude.
but I didn't swim the whole thing. I didn't make it all the way out there. I got halfway down and turned around.
I get it. That's
Yeah.
I think it's funny when you go to airports, you can always pick out the triathlete. They got like the calves or the compression.
yeah.
Like
Well,
that.
or a
They're always
tattoo.
wearing on shoes.
Or a tattoo.
Yeah.
The tattoo. But honestly,
Did you get a tattoo yet?
No, dude. Hell, not even. I can't
landing.
Yeah, you
camp landing.
Yeah, you can't. Are you kidding me? That's a disgrace. I don't feel like you can.
You get like
women-
a half of an M
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a CB.
Yeah. If you do a half, I feel like you could get a half a tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, you just get the head, or you get the dot, or you
I
get
think
the M
Just right in
around in the middle.
down in the middle.
But yeah, you can. If you take a flight to Kona, there's going to be triathletes on that flight, no matter what. They're in and out nonstop over there. Even if it's not coming up, they're like just training over there all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I want to go back to there, or I want to go.
Have you ever been?
I've never done it.
No, yeah.
I think it's on my bucket list.
Yeah. Honestly,
Do it
Hawaii, just Kona, that place is cool. Obviously, I haven't been to no other island, but they say the Big Island is more. There's not a lot of people there.
Right.
Like it's not real touristy or anything like that. So it was right up.
I heard
my
they
alley.
hate us.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I hate when people come to like Jack's Beach.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are these
Kooks.
people? Yeah. I'm like, what are these people doing here in Jack's
Yeah.
Beach? Like, this is like, go home.
Side note: did you watch the finish to that T100 triathlon, where those like the 3 men sprinted at the end?
I think I saw like it like
That was pretty good.
as a meme or
Yeah.
a quick video. I didn't
Well,
watch it.
I watched pretty much the whole run, and it was pretty exciting. Like they were actually throwing out big, some nice surges towards the end, and then that last 200 or whatever it was got pretty interesting. But it was just neat because how often do you see a sprint at the end of pretty much a half Ironman distance race?
We should all sign up for an Ironman.
I don't want to do a full. I still want to qualify for 70.3 Worlds.
My goal back then was to, whenever I went to Augusta with him, was I'm gonna do a half Ironman, but I don't know if I could do it, man.
You did the half run. The bike will be the easy part.
I don't know. It's still the swimming.
Swim, yeah.
It's
Down current.
yeah.
Yeah, if we do Augusta, dude.
But it's so
you can
bad
float.
because like that was the worst thing for me to see because like I'm talking to the dive. They got special divers there, right? Because people are dying every Ironman,
No.
half Ironman. Well, someone died that day I was there. I think maybe 2 people died. At least one died.
I don't remember that.
You can look it up.
I do remember you and I walking to the start, and there was the dive teams going out there.
And I'm talking to these people, but there was you can look it up. It's public record. You can Google the crap. The people died on. It's like always during the swim.
Oh yeah,
because they get. I mean,
Heart
it's just
attack,
like
man.
even on that one, when you're looking 1.2 miles down the river, like the little buoys just disappear. So you're like, I got to swim all the way to the end.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I followed him the whole time. Like, I kept up with him, how I did that, and coming out of the transition.
It's pretty cool.
I was there. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and then, but see, I was in it, and then I got disappointed because we're like there cheering. He gets on the run, and he finally comes around, and he's like, I was like, good job, AJ, go, go, go. He's like, I'm fucking miserable, or what was your famous
Something
words
like that.
was like, this is fucking miserable.
Yeah, he didn't train. He always does that.
And then I'm
crap.
like, God.
He's like, I'm still gonna go do it, and I'm like, you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
You know? And
Well, I signed up. It was expensive.
well,
So I think
yeah.
the swim. Do you remember that? Or
I remember that because then I was like, I'm just gonna run a 7 flat pace as long as I can, and then I think I made it through 5 miles.
Yeah, you should have started
And
with an
then-
8.
No,
And then
we
worked
don't.
yourself
That's not
up.
how I do.
Yeah, well, that's why it's miserable sometimes.
and then I remember I made it to 10K, and I had a complete meltdown.
Yeah.
And then that was like one of the worst feelings I've ever had. I was like, I just need to get moving again. And then I got like cooled off a little bit. And then I think I ran like an 8:30 mile or something. And I was like, I came back to life, and I was like, oh, okay, like I can still do this. And then
Yeah,
I
well,
think I still ran like 1:38
While we're all,
or something.
he's running around, we're all in mellow mushrooms eating.
Yeah.
We're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I remember I had a nice. It was like they had the Jack and Coke Frosties
Yes.
at that mellow.
Really?
Which
Yeah.
I think Char
Awesome.
and Shinoa, she made the sign,
Stay hard, son.
yeah, stay hard.
Yeah.
And I think, so, yeah, that's an accomplishment. I couldn't even imagine, man.
But it's one of those things too where it gets to the point where like you want to go do it fast or do you just want to go finish one. So
I
like
would be very happy with finishing.
I think
one.
everybody has. I'm sitting here going, "Oh, I want to win
Yeah.
the damn race,"
Yeah.
and you're going, "Oh, I just want to go fast," and he's going, "I want to finish." Like, dude, it's all the same, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and if it was a half, right? Like, he's probably more accomplished, right? Because he's going to be out there longer. I'm going to be done in 4 hours.
Yeah.
You might be done in 5 or 6 hours. Like that's a long day, dude.
Yeah, no, it's extremely
Yeah,
long.
yeah, maybe.
Like, yeah.
So hey, that's what's harder, man? Like the dude who runs the 2:30 marathon or the guy that runs the 4-hour marathon.
Well, I think it's all comparable on however hard you want to push yourself. And you
All right,
go-
but what if they're both pushing themselves
Oh, for sure.
95%?
Yeah, no, well, it would be everything.
I
That's
see
what
what
I
you're
think.
saying.
Yeah, I mean, the one dude,
Dude,
he's
running
done.
2:30 is a lot harder though.
Yeah, but he's done in 2.5 hours. The
Yeah.
dude running 4, like, dude, that's 4 hours. When was the
4 hours
last
and a
time
half
you did?
marathon.
When was the last time you ran 4 hours? Well, you just did. Never mind.
Oh.
I don't even know if that counts, but
Oh yeah, that was just dumb too.
Well,
Yeah,
he
I
just
signed
did something.
up.
Well, you
what
just
I'm saying,
did.
yeah.
Well, the 50K. That's
yeah,
yeah,
the 50K.
But that's why I
And then-
signed up. And I was
Yeah, and
committed.
then somehow I get drawn into that as to I told him he
Well,
couldn't
it
do
made
it or
me
something.
it made me think about it whenever your wife texted you about the or I need to know that I can do this or finish
Yeah.
this or whatever. I would need you to text me and be like, "Bitch, you can't do this."
No,
and I'd be like,
100%.
"Okay."
Yeah,
See.
yeah, but that 50K, that's insane. That's great. That's
I ran into a guy the other day who was he's the course director for the Guana 50K,
Oh,
and he's like, "Hey, you still have the course record?" I was
Oh.
like, "No way,
that's badass.
dude, it's been a while." Like,
What'd you run that in?
Couldn't tell you, man. This has got to be 2000, probably 9, 2010. I know. I remember I had the Sunny Runner singlet on in the photo,
I still see those things now.
dude. They're
It was a catchy logo.
I ran into 2 ladies the other day that were like customers at my store. That I was riding my bike and I saw them running. I flipped around and we talked, and they were like, "Oh my God, I miss your store so much." Blah blah blah. And we talked, and they're like, "Oh, we got to get a photo with you, and you got to bring Sunny Runner back." And I'm like, he never left, but
Yeah,
and the store in St. Pete's still open, and
Yeah.
Cody's crushing it, man. Guys are getting tattoos of this logo.
wow,
Yeah, it's
that's
like,
cool.
It's like,
That kind of sounds like the night that we all went out and played Top Golf. I think we ran into all your customers.
Was I intoxicated that night a little bit? Or?
I think everybody was, but
I don't.
No, I know my girl was.
Yeah, my wife's got narcolepsy.
I don't remember this night.
Oh my God, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, okay.
I just leave my wife in the car. Like I just go tuck her in.
You don't remember that night we went to dinner,
Bro? I remember when we went to. No, I didn't think that was Top Golf night. I remember that night. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same night.
Yeah, we ran into. Oh, well, yeah, you're right.
They weren't customers.
Yeah, we ran into. Yeah, you guys were like throwing me under the bus and stuff.
bro. We were AJ. Well, I wasn't.
Bro, the one was just like random. Like, I mean, they walked out. I swear to you, the lady walked out and her daughter, was walking out with her. I hadn't seen her daughter since she was probably 14, and she was probably what, 25 now. And I was just like, oh hey.
I think I was tucking my wife away in the car.
Yeah, dude, and it was just like, and they're like, Owen, and I was just like, and
it was nonstop though. I think
right?
it was like 3 or 4 or 5. Well, before the dinner, you were celebrity at
Grape and Grain.
Yeah,
dude,
shout out Grape and Grain.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, Grape and
Grain. We need to get the owner of Grape and Grain and Bold Bean on here. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, hit us up.
I'll talk to Travis tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was I remember
the coffee
that night
industry would be interesting to learn about.
I'm trying to think. I was at the bike shop one day. I was looking at a Roscoe or something, and I forget, there was one dude in there. Anyway, like me and you were chalking it up. I think you're just a regular dude. And then like we go outside or something, and the guy was just like, he's like, do you know who you're talking to? Like, I'm like, he's just Owen. I don't know. Dude. My buddy AJ, he's like, no, dude, that guy's a legend. And it's like every time, I'm being serious. Like, he's like, how do you just get to talk to him?
Really?
I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Bro, I'm like the most approachable person out there.
And I was like, I don't know. He's a buddy of mine. I don't know. Like, I don't know. He's just a dude.
We're talking about bikes.
Yeah. This guy's like wanting to get your autograph and everything else. Yeah, I'll never forget that. And I was like, and then I think Chris even come up there. And Chris is like, dude, that guy's like, Chris don't know you from Adam. Like, but just everybody that was going to the shop was like, oh my God. And Chris was like, dude, that guy's for real, ain't he? I'm like, I guess. I just know him from AJ. I know he's a badass, but I guess I'm humbled that I get to talk to Owen.
Dude,
I even get to call him on the phone. Like, hey, man, what's up?
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's.
But I know we had a lot of good conversations. I know your wife did the Hobie thing for a while. That was really cool.
Dude, I think that's what it was. Yeah, once we went down the fishing hole.
Yeah, that's I think that is exactly it. And everybody was like, how do you carry a conversation with this guy? I don't know. Yeah. But we still need to go fishing, man.
I know, dude.
We need to take her out.
We will. Yeah. She's been busy too, man. It's but yeah, I think I just been here for so long now and just always running or riding or triathlon, and I don't know, man. I've just built some really good relationships, dude. You got to think about it. Like, I worked at First Place Sports for probably 7 or 8 years, and I was a really good runner, and was helping them with stuff, and I worked at the beach store. I worked at all the stores, and then started my own store. And then I was just like the face of that. And so, we had group runs and then I had, 2 of my buddies had race management companies. So I was going to their triathlons and going to their 5Ks. And so I think I was just always in the scene and, and just trying to be approachable, cause like, dude, when you start a business, man, you can't be a douchebag. No, you gotta be like really nice. And maybe that's just part of it, is just like, when we had our store, it was like, I was like, dude, no matter what, you take care of the customer. Yeah, like 100%. I said, you have 30 minutes to create a friendship with them, because that was always my pitch. I always like get a new person in, or I'd have a staff meeting or whatever, and I'd be like, who's the easiest person to sell to? And everybody's looking at me and they're like, I don't know, like soccer mom. or the CEO, like who's the easiest person to sell to? And I was like, your friends and family. I'm like, dude, if you walked in and I told you, hey, you need these shoes, these compression socks, this foam roller, and these gels, you'd be like, yeah, dude. Yeah, you trust me, like, right? And same with AJ. Like, dude, go buy this. Yeah. Okay, man, you're right. And so that was like my message. I'm like, dude, you got to, and we had people that I'm like,
turn and burn on your family members.
Right. But
well, no, but it's true though.
But you had to find that what's the whole Kevin Bacon thing, the separation or whatever.
The 6 degrees.
Dude, I'm like, you got to find the 2 degrees of separation. I'm like, you ask them every question you can, and you figure out, oh, where'd you go to school? Yeah. Oh, cool. Did you know so and so? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're buddies with AJ. Yeah. AJ's my buddy. And then like it's over. Yeah. Like, and so I think that was just kind of the approach, man. It was like, I had, my staff, I wouldn't let them. It was like 2 or 3 weeks. They'd have to like shadow me or shadow one of the better people, and then if they weren't cutting it, dude, I was like, dude, you gotta try. Like we gotta,
Everybody needs vapor flies.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it was.
Yeah, but
you're doing a diabetes fun run or fun walk. Vapor flies.
Hey, they're faster. But dude, I promise you that.
But I just remember, I remember.
But like, what, like the margin stuff on shoes, like, and I guess that was like pre-Amazon. Everything's on, dude, everything's online. So I could see the little bit more of a.
Do you feel like running was as big then as it is now?
Oh, it was humongous then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We were right on the, they called it like the second running boom, right? And it was like the Galloway thing was going on, right? Yeah. Like the run walk, and that opened. Everybody's like, whoa, everybody could do a marathon if you run walk. And so, and then, the shoe technology was just getting better, and then advertising and promoting, and it was, we were cresting the wave of Amazon. I think, that, everybody was kind of hesitant to put their stuff on Amazon, and then online was still not fully developed. Like it wasn't, like nowadays, like, dude, we can talk, we're going to open our phones and it's going to show a vapor fly, right? Like back then, like, dude, you had to like hit it.
Well, that's the thing too, is if anybody's out there watching this and ever wants to run or walk or do anything, shoes are everything in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Because I would cripple myself in the early days thinking I'm going to run in like a Nike Air Max or something like that. I would get the worst shin splints, and I'll never forget, AJ was like, man, you got to get a good pair of shoes. It's that simple. Yeah. Like, and I think I never went into my first pair of shoes was going into First Coast Running Sports, and like
first
place, whatever, and whatever they did, and like since
but they fit you up. They measure your foot, dude. Like,
and I've never had a shin splints ever. Yeah. And baseball, I couldn't run a mile without getting shin splints. I'd muscle through it just because I couldn't be a puss. But now it's just like shoes. That's what I tell everybody. Shoes are everything.
Yeah.
You get the right pair of shoes, and you can run. Yeah. I don't give a shit if you're 500 pounds or 150 pounds.
Yeah. And everybody's different.
Yeah.
So you got to go in and get somebody that
you could be. Yeah, I learned so much. You could be neutral or what's the other word?
Stability, control,
all this crap.
But now that there's minimal, maximal. Yeah. I mean, it's and a lot of it's like you look at your legs and AJ's legs. They're different, man. Your feet are different. Like, dude.
I love running those flats, like the old school flats, man. Those are. That's the ticket.
I'd be crippled. Right. And see, he don't like running in like the Invincible. I love that shoe.
Right.
The cushy. But see, I got bad plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
And which I don't know if we're allowed to go down that. But your boy hooked me up. He saved my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Are we allowed to say that? Or
no? Who's this?
Mike
Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He saved me.
Dude, Mike's the friggin' man.
But what's so funny is, we got...
Why can't we say his name?
Well, I don't know.
Dude, you need to get Mike on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's a legend. Let me go ahead and tell you the story about Mike Ryan.
Mike Ryan is absolute legend.
So, I have a couple stories. One, AJ's like, yeah, man, just call them. You know, you guys are real athletes. You know, it's like me. I'm like,
well, you got a name drop. Because I remember the first time I did it. Not to interrupt you, but I remember the first time I messaged him. He's like, I got no openings forever. And I'm like, okay. I was like, well, my buddy Owen had told me to call you. So like, you were my first go-to. He's like, well, I think I have Tuesday. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, so actually, I was like, that's the first time I ever like name dropped somebody and it actually worked.
Dude. Yeah, no, and the same thing. AJ's like, now listen, you can't just text him or call him and say, you just heard about him. Yeah. He's like, say that you're Owen's friend and AJ. I was like, hey, man, you know, I'm having real bad foot pain. I don't know what it is. I said, but my buddy Owen gave me your number and AJ, and he said, he told me to, you know, give you a shout immediately. Oh, yeah, next week, Thursday, you can come in.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed. You know, look at me. I'm a Clydesdale, okay?
And, dude, you see him?
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are, Mike, but, you know.
He's a freaking.
Just fit.
Yeah, so I was a little intimidated going in there, and I'm like, he probably looking at me and my body and everything. I was like, listen, bud, I know I'm not your athlete or anything. I said, you know, but.
You know, he was like head trainer for the Jags.
Yeah, I know. I still throw that out all the time. Like, I tell these people, I'm like, yeah, this guy's working on me.
Yeah, so you're walking in there going.
And I'm like, he's like, no, man. He goes, I get it, you know, because I just was honest. I was like, I'm just trying to get better, you know, whatever. And he's like, no, I have no problem working on you, man. He goes, you know, I know you're trying hard, you're doing good, but you know, he helped. He gave me all these exercises.
Perfect.
His book, the foam roller or whatever, like that book is, and I don't do it like I'm supposed to do it by no means, but if I do what he told me to do, immediate relief.
Boom.
But I'll never forget the first gate I ran. I get to the monster, right?
Oh yeah,
and I'm about to walk. I'm to the point where I'm almost to the top, and I'm like, if I can get to the top, I'm walking for a little bit.
Yeah.
Who's at the top?
Nuh-uh.
Mike Ryan.
Is he sitting there?
And I'm like...
He ran back up, or what, did he? Or
just, no, he was just up there cheering.
I figured he ran and then came back
and
up.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's Mike Ryan. I said, Mike Ryan.
Yeah.
It's Brian Dutcher. He's like, keep going, keep going. I never walked. I ran the whole thing. But what's the odds of that? I'm like, you know, this guy is. If you do the back history on that guy, he's pretty much a legend.
Though before I went to him for the first time, you and I were at Randy's house watching Kona.
Yeah.
And you were like,
oh, dude.
You were like they had just, or they're like, oh, we got Mike Ryan. He's like, you're like, that dude's from Jack's Beach. And then he had like an exclusive interview with Jan.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's so cool. So the first time I went in there, I was like, dude, how was that? Like, no, like Jan doesn't just do like interviews and, you know, especially about his injury and why he wasn't going to be there that year. And, you know, Mike sat down with him and I was like, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Especially since he's the GOAT.
But yeah, you went 2 times. Like I had a bad hip problem. I thought I was like dying. And he's like, nah, you're not dying. He goes, everything else is like weak. You got to strengthen another shit.
Yeah.
And
dude, he's like it's like figuring this out.
Yeah.
And
I'll never forget that when he went in there with the tools, he pulled them tools out, got in that foot and broke up all the fibrous or whatever, broke it all down. And but I still, to this day, if I don't do the exercises and foam rolling and stuff, it kills me.
Dude, I used to tell all the people at the store when they come in, I'd have a foam roller and I have a pair of shoes, and I'd tell them the foam roller. I was like, most of the time they come in, they already had shoes or they're trying to return them. I said, you don't have a shoe problem. I said, you got a muscle problem, and I would tell them, I said, the foam roller is just as important as your toothbrush.
Yeah, I agree.
And they would look at me and they're like, I'm like, yeah, all you gotta do is brush a couple minutes a day, and they're like, foam roll a couple minutes a day, basically. And they would take the foam roll. They'd be like, boom, all right.
And it's like, for me, it's so hard to do it for whatever reason. It's laziness. It's like,
it's a little painful too.
Yeah,
it is. You're kind of like, unless you're that type of person where you're like, you got that, what do they call that?
High pain tolerance?
No, where you like that stuff, you know.
A fetish?
Yeah.
Well, I think you get that little ball and you like start doing like your psoas and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
I start
you're like,
sweating.
Yeah, no, the ball. I'm supposed to put it on my ass cheek, like right here in this thing, and like sit on it and roll this, and it's like so freaking painful.
Yeah. So guys, check out TP therapy. Trigger point therapy is what it stands for, but they have the ball and the foam roller, all this stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, you gave me like, I remember you came over one night and you're like, because I think I was starting to get sore. So you're like, I'm coming over to your house and we're gonna have like where I'm gonna show you how to do everything. And you brought like a whole little kit, like a little care pack, had like I think 3 different size ones with
Rollers,
like the little rollerblade wheels,
yeah.
and then it had like a little platform, and then it had the ball.
Dude, that guy would be a Cassidy Phillips. He lives in Austin, but he created that company, dude. That guy's got some good stories.
Yeah. After we get a budget, we can start
flying people in.
Yeah, flying people in.
Yeah, I feel like Mike's gonna be expensive.
Right,
get him on. You're gonna have to boost up. We have to get the Buble sponsor first.
Or Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels works too.
Yeah, we'll be mixing the two of them. But yeah, we won't talk too much more about Mike because I think that would be a good one to.
Yeah, Mike would be great.
Yeah,
and I think even a couple of the other local people, they're kind of in that same industry would be interesting. Because even with the last time I went and saw him, it was I had like that stress fracture, and he was like, "Have you been running with like a little bit more duck foot on that side?" I was like, "Yep." He's like, "Well, that's because." And I was like, "Damn, how did he know that?" Like,
it's all connected.
Yeah, and it's always like whatever's in, like whatever hurts. That's not the issue. It's everything around that for anybody that like, down the road if you have an injury, because that's one thing that your calf hurts. It's not your calf. It's something else.
Yep. It's all pulling. So
yeah, that's it. You got to strengthen your calf. Even like plantar fasciitis starts because your calves are not doing the work. All kind of stuff. But yeah, I can't talk no more about it because I really don't know, except for what he tells me, and just do it, and then you're back better.
When's your next race?
Next big race is Nationals. It'll be in end of July.
Nice. Where's that at?
Augusta.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they do the road race and the criterium and then the time trial, so it's 3 days.
And that's the loop, right?
Yeah, well, they've got they'll have a time trial, which is pretty much like I think an out and back.
Yeah.
Then they'll have the road race, which is I think it's a 20-something mile loop, pretty hilly. It's on this military base out there. And then they'll do the criterium, which is kind of the short,
I remember watching. Was it Augusta? I watched him live. It was like a 1 mile loop, and you just keep going and going and going.
Yeah. You probably watched Athens.
Athens.
Athens. Dude, Athens is it.
Yeah, they're always live. Augusta, like, they don't, like, it's weird. Masters. So, like, USA Cycling puts on all the national championships.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's not like a well-oiled machine, right? It's just kind of like, you show, like, I remember the first year I won, they do a doping test afterwards, and so I'm sitting there, and I didn't have to pee, and I'm just like, well, crap, I'm like sitting here just da-da-da-da, and so I was like, oh shit, I'll call my mom, she'll be excited. So I call my mom, and I'm like, mom, you never guess, I won the road race national championship. She's like, oh man, that's awesome. She goes, how much money did you make? And I was like, well, I got a jersey. They gave me a jersey.
I blew a lot of money to get here.
Yeah, and I spent 4 nights in a hotel. So it was, so that's like USA Cycling. Well, I don't want to throw USA Cycling out there, but it's like they just kind of. I mean, dude, I just signed up. It's $110 per race.
Wow.
And you're just like, I'm racing for a jersey that I've already won.
Yeah.
And it I guess it's just kind of a.
Yeah, at that point, you got to love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And to be fair, honestly, like, and maybe this is a question for you guys, right? Like, I feel like sometimes I got to stay relevant from a coaching standpoint.
100%.
Like if I'm going to talk the talk, I got to kind of walk the walk. So I think it, showing up to a national championship, trying to be on the podium and be, a factor.
I think that's way better than, Ironman University, where anybody can go, get a coaching like certificate, and then they don't have any street cred. Like, I would much rather have, and I think I've seen like a poll on Slow Twitch before where it was like, would you rather a coach have street cred or like legit, stage 1, 2, or 3 certifications from something, something like that. And I would much rather have the dude that's had the coach. I think one of the conversations you and I had was like, you've had a coach since middle school,
right?
And it's like, just having all that knowledge and
teacher,
my
teachers,
and kind of like what we were talking about earlier with the, with all the different ways people are coaching stuff now. Like, especially, you see all the people doing the scientific way of stuff, and then, versus just like the hard work. I don't know if you've noticed any of that stuff. Like, I know amateurs that are doing lactate testing and stuff like that, but it's like, if you don't know what you're reading, or if you're just going out there and to burn up $2 a strip, it's, to me, I mean, from what I've seen, like, if you just work hard and obviously like you're saying too, the times have come down, from the Jan Frodeno days at Kona,
right?
You run 240, you're gonna win. Now it's, you got to run 232 is the new standard, it seems like.
So I guess the question is, are the elite side of things getting faster, or is everybody getting faster?
Well,
right? Because like, like for me, like there's a lot of that stuff's really cool, right? But I feel like I have very few athletes that would really fall into that. Like, oh, let's do lactate testing and let's, best bikes. I mean, any of these real advanced, wind tunnel, stroke efficiency, whatever, where, a lot of times I'm like, well, just
show up.
Just do your work every day, and like, I always told all my athletes, I'm like, dude, if you do 90% of what I ask you to do, I promise you'll break every one of your goals, and we'll be rewriting your goals, like, so I think part of it is that stuff's cool. And I don't know, man, shoot, dude, I guess you're kind of like, okay, is it better to have the dude that has the street cred, or, the guy that's got the paperwork?
Street cred,
but
all day.
Yeah, definitely.
So
harder, work is.
But then you want his athlete, like for instance, whose athletes are showing results, right? Like, I mean, like let's look at who are the 2 Norwegian guys, that are being.
Well, that's what I kind of was referencing to with them, doing all the scientific stuff.
Like, that dude doesn't have any credentials, I think, from a triathlete.
No,
the coach, and he's got 2 of the best, Gustav Eden and Blumenfield. He's got 2 of the best triathletes in the world. You
see where Blumenfeld's going to be like going full-time cycling.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think the rumor is he signed like a 3-year contract with Giant.
Wow.
To go pro cycling. Like, as soon as the Olympics are over.
Oh, interesting.
Do you feel like if you go back 20 years, you could win on a 20-year-old bike as you could the bike you're riding today?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So
I'm glad you brought that up. I thought you were going to go back 20 years in my life and start talking about that. I was
no.
Oh, gosh.
No. But, like, that's a big thing, going back to the whole how everybody's faster or better these days.
But bike's so much more technology versus, like, biomechanics with running. And, other than the carbon shoe, like, really what got faster in running, like.
Yeah, not much. I think a lot.
Does a lactate strip offset carbon shoes?
No, and to be honest, though, I think the education of running has gotten better.
Right.
Because, for instance, an athlete that I'm familiar with and talk and communicate with is, never wore heart rate. And I was just
You talking about me?
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, you're an elite athlete. Like, you've qualified for the Olympic trials, and like, you don't, and it took a while to like get this athlete to like, hey, this is important data and information to have, and like, so I think, I mean, you're, and think running too, the strength side of it has gotten to be more, you see a lot of this band resistant stuff. So I think there is some, they're really working on their efficiency, and then there is, runners are wearing heart rate monitors now. I mean, Bill Rogers, Frank Shorter, Prefontaine. I mean, those guys just went and ran. They didn't even have a watch, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, back in Boston marathon, they had a clock at every 5 miles, and it was a clock with the time of day.
Oh wow!
So you knew the race started at 8 o'clock. So when you got to the 5 mile mark, it would say 8:40, right? And so you would have to do the math in your head and go, oh man, I guess I ran the first 5 miles at an 8-minute pace, and then you get to 10. So nowadays, right, dude, it's telling you, you're sweating too much or whatever. So I'd like to say no, but maybe it is. Maybe just the training is better.
But what if you took one of those guys from way back then that was elite then, and then put him in now with the added technology?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess there's some different stories, right? Because people like Prefontaine and Jim Ryan did some crazy stuff. I mean, Jim Ryan's known for running 100, 400 meter repeats. Like Lasse Viren, who is the only runner ever to win the 5,000, the 10,000, and the marathon in one Olympics. He used to do some crazy stuff too. Like, I mean,
what Olympics was that?
Wow, you're trying me. It wasn't. I want to say 72.
Oh wow,
Munich. Because he definitely won the 5,000, 10,000. Oh, he's out. Yeah. So yeah, it might have been the following year, 76. I don't know, but I feel like 76 he didn't win. But who knows? But yeah, man. So
what was it? Was it Sinowitz? Is that his name?
Oh, Sinchowitz.
Yeah,
Matthew Sinchowitz.
Because I know I was listening to a podcast with him.
Yeah. But he was a great example of a dude that had a kick, but he ramped it up from 400 out.
That's what made me think about it earlier. Is because I remember they saying that's one of the the little things I guess people give him a hard time on was it was like one of the slowest.
It was, but
Olympic gold medals like that ever happened.
And I bet you Jenny Behringer's was pretty slow too, man. I mean, but that that's always the question I ask a lot of people. Like I'll get like these young athletes, and they want to run a PR and they want to win the race, all the time, and or they just get in this mind space, and if they didn't run a PR, but maybe they beat a kid that they didn't beat last week, they're all like, and it's like, I always say, I'm like, dude, would you rather win a gold medal or have a world record, knowing that the world record could be broken one day?
Yeah, I'd take a gold medal.
Right. And so like I got to tell these kids sometimes, I'm like, dude, run to win, man. Mm-hmm. Try to win a race. It's not, it's not about always trying to have the best time, because, it could be 100 degrees out. It could be a hailstorm coming down, and the last 10 miles of the marathon. So, yeah, I mean, but that Sinchowitz, dude, yeah, he ran a perfectly tactical race. He got out, he got in lane 1, and he just, anytime somebody tried to pass him, he would just kind of stay the same pace as them.
Yep.
And he just ramped it up from the last 400, and nobody could come by him. I mean, he made all of them run lane 2 and 3 the whole race. It was pretty impressive.
You geek out on and follow the Olympics a lot?
Oh, totally. Yeah,
I do too.
I'm excited.
I love it.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of the swim trials last night.
Bulls got another. They got another young guy in there.
Yeah. And then Ledecky.
Yeah.
You follow her at all? The 1,500 meter girl?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She has the 18 fastest times ever.
Yeah. I remember.
Ever. I thought, what the heck?
I thought she just lost her record, like at a world championship.
Probably at like
the
800.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like the mile or whatever she swims.
Yeah, she might have lost something at a shorter distance, but
there's a guy from Ponte Vedra. I think he's from Cal. Was he swim college? Southern Cal? I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but there's a boy from from Ponte Vedra.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
well, but I wonder he might be the same Bulls guy that I was thinking of.
Yeah,
because they got
because he just swam for the Olympic trials. He just beat everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think track and field started today. It was like the
where was it at?
heptathlon, or it's out in Eugene, Oregon.
Because I think that was the first time they've ever done a stadium for the swim.
Oh, I don't know where the swimming thing is.
It was like I think it was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see them? There's supposedly like a real time of them building it.
Oh, I didn't watch like
Yeah.
the time lapse or anything.
Yeah, it's like a time lapse of them putting it together.
I think it was like essentially I think it was the largest swim like event or like
Facility?
stadium
Okay.
or something
That's
ever.
cool. Huh.
With them doing it at the stadium, whatever stadium they did it at up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get geeked up in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Winter, summer, but yeah, just everything.
Summer's a lot better. I like.
I like the old curling, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
you seem like a curling type of guy, dude.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I can get addicted to that
Yeah.
thing. You ever watched
Would you
it?
be the brusher, or
Yeah.
which one would you be doing?
Well, don't you have to rotate? Like I thought
No, I think you get to be a sweeper.
Yeah.
I think it's called.
you're just like a
sweeper.
full-time sweeper.
Yeah. And then you're yelling. "Ah, ah, ah, ah." I
Yeah.
don't even know. Stop.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's crazy. But no, yes, Summer Olympics is awesome. Just everything. Even gymnastics is crazy.
You see, it'll be like one of the first times ever that the tour doesn't finish on the Champs-Élysées.
No.
Yeah, because the Olympics, the Summer Olympics is there.
We looked at going out for like a trip just to go kind of experience it, but like Airbnbs were wild. Like, it still wasn't that expensive to get out there, but like anything to stay anywhere close, and then everything was kind of spread out a lot more than I think we thought.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like we were like, oh, that, and then we just did another trip instead. So it was just not meant to be.
Yeah.
I've had a friend. He went to the London Olympics. So that was pretty cool. And then, I've seen a couple, when we went to Barcelona, we went by the Olympic Stadium. And then,
I heard
Greece.
I heard Utah's supposed to be getting the winner here shortly.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because originally they got it, and their airport wasn't big enough. And so now they're...
Salt Lake?
I believe, yeah.
I thought we just did a winner in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Like early 2000s?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the real Summer Olympics.
Yeah,
then.
maybe. I think we did.
Well,
Yeah,
Los
I know
Angeles
we did.
has 28
Oh, okay.
for summer.
Well, maybe I'm just way off then, man. Maybe
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Salt Lake definitely had the winner.
Yeah.
I want to say that, yeah, or like Shaun White days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll have to
Never
fact
mind.
check this for the next
Yeah,
one.
never mind. What do they say? Like 70% of facts are made up.
Oh, definitely.
That was me right there.
We'll have to get like a young Jamie
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
budget gets a little bit bigger.
we need
Yeah.
somebody in the background.
Yeah,
just being
definitely.
like,
Yeah, I'm like, I want to grab the phone right now.
The clicker.
Yeah, so-
we have a clicker and
Yeah.
just click them in.
Yeah.
No, I think that would be cool to go to an Olympic Games. Just to kind of, I don't know what I would go see though, man.
But it was like even
soccer would be cool.
But the last one, the marathon, it was like, it was like 4 hours away from.
Oh,
where was the last one at? Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the marathon was like 4 hours away from downtown Rio. So it's like, some of that stuff's kind of like mirrors and shadow and mirrors or whatever.
Well, dude, that you want to talk about one of the most corrupt things ever.
The Olympics?
The Olympics.
Yeah, dude. They make billions of dollars and don't pay any athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a gold medal's like $50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, going back to the whole doping. I mean, think about that, really. Really go down that rabbit hole, right? And now you got your whole dirty games thing going on. But if you were part of the Olympic organization, like games, would you want to have a dirty sports? You wouldn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, how much money is Usain Bolt bringing you? How much money is Michael? And I'm sorry, I'm throwing these names out, but I'm not saying I'm not implementing these people at all. But you don't want a dirty game,
No.
right? You want a clean. What is their motto? harder, jumper, faster.
Yeah, strong. But if you look at the back story between all of it,
what do you think about the Russia scandal?
And Chinese
but,
and
the UCI, WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency. It's a governing body. It's not like it's the FBI, right? It's a bunch of people making money.
Yeah.
So if the Olympics is going, oh hey, you got a couple test results here that we're not in favor of.
I see what you're saying.
Like, dude, it's a $1 billion industry. You're telling me they're not giving WADA a couple million under the table, 100%. Saying, hey, no, we don't want that gold medalist to have a positive. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, no, it's.
I like the tinfoil hat. That's cool.
I
could
trust
see it.
Nothing these days.
Oh, I don't trust anything either.
That's what, back in the days, Lance had the governing bodies in his back pocket.
Yeah,
like he could pick up the phone and go, hey,
100%.
And they're messaging him first if they find something. They're going, hey, because Lance's story was amazing, right?
Yeah. I feel like everyone should watch the documentary.
Oh, dude, it's great. But look at the Olympics. World Cup too, FIFA, right? Like $1 billion industry. Have you ever heard of a soccer player testing positive?
No. Do they actually test though?
Oh, they have to. Yeah. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just
it's like football. Like it might be like American football,
right?
Though. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure there's a big gray area. Like those dudes, especially when you see them get out of college and then
they get tested, right? But they don't. I've seen a couple of them. Hey, that's too much testosterone. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't use you can't use steroids or.
It's like when you look at The Rock, when he's 30 versus now,
right?
And the dude's way more jacked now, and you don't naturally get more fit like that as you get older.
Did he say that he was natural?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't. For
I
one,
don't want The Rock coming in here whooping my ass. So
yeah,
I'm just
I think it's one of those things where like no one's really ever asked him, but then I think it's just kind of assumed.
Yeah, but I'm just these billion in soccer, man, dude.
Everything's a business,
dude. They're running, man. Those guys are running nonstop for 90 minutes. Like you're telling me that a little EPO before that wouldn't help those guys.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. And that's like even look at the cramping.
Oh yeah,
it's substantially lower nowadays. If you watch any kind of soccer on TV. 10, 20 years ago, suckers are laying out, cramping every 5 minutes. Now it's...
Gatorade just got better at their product.
It's got
forever chemicals.
There's probably halftime. They've got them all hooked up on bags real quick. You can run a bag real quick, just 500 milliliters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get. I start looking at the big picture.
No, I think it's great. Honestly, and your honesty, or even like, I just feel like you're a true athlete at the end of the day. Just because it'd be easy for you to say, "Oh yeah, whatever, no big deal." I know that question bothered you a lot earlier, it was a deep thought of the doping situation. And I just know that you're tried and true, and you can just tell by the conversation.
It's frustrating, man. Here's like you want to go really like think about it, man. Like you look at like an Ethiopian or a Kenyan, right? These guys are sleeping on dirt floors, with 10 of their family members, trying to go catch the chicken.
Yep.
They're in poverty, right? Like, in the you got a coach that comes up and goes, "Hey, man, you're a 2:10 marathoner. That won't get you anything.
Yeah.
But if you take this needle in your butt, you could be one of the best marathon runners in the world. And guess what? You could make $100,000, $200,000 at the Boston Marathon." What would that do for his family?
Oh, it's life-changing money for them.
Yeah. Bro, like, $100,000 for you, right? Like, you're like, okay, cool, that's a good year. That's a lifetime for them, man. They're, like Geber Selassie and those guys back in the day, they've changed their city, their village. They're like, oh, there's a road named after them now, so So here's the fact, dude. Like, is somebody like that maybe works in a coal mine or has to go out and farm, and they've got this opportunity to change their family's life?
Yep.
Do you are you mad at them?
Right.
I mean, I'm not mad at that Kenyan dude. I mean, he's cheating.
Yeah.
But dude, so now the standard's been raised up. So you look at like, an American or somebody that like, dude, they can go get a 9 to 5 and they can live and they can eat and, maybe they're doing this part time. Well, how can they compete with a Kenyan he's a Kenyan, he's already better.
Yeah.
And he's on drugs.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at him. I mean, what would you do?
No,
if you were if you had to feed your family, what are you going to do?
100%. I agree. 100%. It doesn't.
I'd do
at
it.
that point in the game, you have to make sacrifices.
And so, is that right versus, like an American who has access, has the look at Lance. Was Lance's right versus this Kenyan that is trying to feed his family?
Yeah.
Lance just wanted to win some jerseys and be famous. And
Do you think that's like Nike funded?
oh man, it's another $1 billion industry.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
Right?
do you think Nike would be like,
How many
what? Just slide the bill over.
how many superflies or what are they called? Mayflies or
paper flies?
vaporflies have they sold because of Kipchoge?
Yeah. Well, they completely changed the running industry.
And how much are they now?
280, 279.
Yeah.
And how much do you think?
Dude,
how much do you think that costs to make?
Oh,
Yeah, well, it's all about the
$28.
$28.
oh God, I don't even want to tell my real analogy of what's going on there.
I had bought a couple pairs for a buddy and taken them down south, and I went to first place and bought them. And dude, I think the total for 2 pairs with tax and everything was like $612, and I was like, oh man,
Wow.
$612 for like 2 pairs
Wow.
of shoes, like, and they're the little boxes.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, go ahead and put that on my account though, so I'll get those points,
Right.
and then I'll just give them to Venmo me some money. But yeah, I was like $612. Like,
Yeah, now it's like even their track shoe now they got something called a Dragonfly.
Right.
They might have been out forever, but like that track shoe is.
but the technology too. 'Cause I remember, I think it was the last Olympics cycle too. Like the Nike shoe was just plain faster. So like they were doing the unbranded version, and then you could just like draw on it with a Sharpie if you got the On logo or something.
Whatever happened? Did that shoe get outlawed?
Which one was it?
The carbon shoe, didn't it? Like who set? Didn't it?
I think the only thing that's kind of outlawed now is that Adidas one that's got like a 40.
Yeah.
It's like it's got to be like less than
Yeah.
41 millimeter stack or something.
Did you guys watch the backstory of all that?
No.
Oh yeah, it's a Nike documentary or something or I don't know, but they were talking about like Kipchoge, Rupp, a couple of the guys, Nike guys had them before.
Oh yeah, and people thought they were trainers.
Yeah,
because they were
like,
the stack was
why
so
are these
big.
guys running their trainers?
Yeah.
And I think the 3 of them finished in the top 5 at the Olympics in the marathon. And the one rule is like everybody has to have access to the shoe.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And then also with that shoe, they were like, hey, we've got the governing body has to set some type of limitation on the height.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, man, the governing body came up with these heights, and it was like to the millimeter of what the Nike shoe was, right, dude? And it like, the Nike shoe was already out, and then this rule came out, and it was like, again, talking about slipping a little cash under the table, like
how it magically appeared to be in spec,
right, like
to the millimeter.
Yeah, dude, and so man, it's crazy out there. I mean, talk about the Egyptian pyramids and stuff, like
Oh my
dude,
golly.
dude, Nike and the Olympics, like, I mean, it's up there.
It's up there with the pyramids.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
No, everything. Man. I don't even know if I feel like we're in an illusion most of the time. I don't know if this is real life or not real life. Everything.
we're in the Matrix.
Yeah, it's a wild time to be alive. 100%. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I never thought about the politics side of running that much.
It's in
Dude,
everything.
you said
What's the
it
margins
early.
on a shoe? So if you're selling a Vaporfly, so what's wholesale on a Vaporfly? If it's 280,
We'll just say 50% to be realistic. Like, I mean, back then it was like it was like 42%, and then it's like if you ordered more, you got a bigger discount. You get like 6% off, and then if you really ordered a lot, you could get 12% off. But I'd say across the board, you know, if you're buying $100 shoe, they paid $50 for it, and then.
But what was the problem with like all the SKUs? Like, there's so many SKUs between the colors and then the sizes.
They
like,
screw the industry, man. That makes for the mom and pop like running stores, you know, the shoe companies are screwing them.
Yeah.
You know, and the shoe companies will always say, "Oh, we put mom and pop and, you know, these local small, you know, stores first." But they're absolutely not, because they can't facilitate what something online could facilitate, right? Like, you know, if this was a big factory, dude, you could put every color and every SKU and like you have no, you know, it's like the cost is minimum. You know what I mean? I was paying $25, $26 a square foot to own a retail space, and it's like, dude, try to house. I mean, that was always our thing. We're like, where are we going to put more shoes? And then it's like, I had a lady walk in one time, and she's like, "Oh, hey, do you have the Mizuno Wave Rider in a size 8?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I definitely got one. Let me just go back in the back and grab it for you." I come out, and I was like, "Ma'am, I got a problem." And she's like, "Oh, what?" And I was like, "I got 4 different colors." And she, you know, she giggled and was like, "Yeah, I got 4 different colors." And I'm showing her all the colors, and she goes, "Don't they make a pink one too?" And I said, "Actually, they do." I said, you know, we normally order on Mondays. I can have it here. It usually comes in 2 days later." And she goes, "Oh, I'll just get it online." And I was like, "Dude, I don't know what to do." I just offered this lady
4 different colors.
4 colors in her size, you know, like, and so at that point, you know, it was like, you know, the industry was big, right? It was like, I mean, we were at the boom, but everybody was trying to sell their shoes. Right? I mean, this was when On first came out, and nobody knew crap about it. I mean, On was like giving me shoes. They're like, "Here, dude," you know, they basically were like, "Buy one, get one." Because we want our shoes on the wall. And like, so you got that, right? And they're already going up against all the big hitters. Well, the big hitters are going, "Well, crap, how do I sell against the other guys?" And they're like, "Well, we need to make more SKUs." So all of a sudden they're doing minimal, maximal, add, you know, it always add another, you know, you were talking about is neutral, stability, control. Well, now there's like each company's got 2 or 3 shoes in one of those. Well, now after that, well, what do we got to do now? Oh, we got to make them in 6 colors. So, dude, now you got, you know, each vendor's got 12 shoes, 6 colors, and you got to do them in every size.
And then every year is a 14 or 15 or 16 or 17.
You're right. And 6 months they would do a color update, and then at the year you're flipping it over. How can a mom and pop little retail store do that?
Well, it's like at the end of the year, I know like y'all had like the Marathon High and like donated X amount of shoes, but then like the other ones, do you just dump it a fraction of the price and then, you know, hope for the best? Because I mean that, you know, that kind of sucks whenever you're building that in the beginning of the year and you're like, okay, I'm going to sell this, you know, $100, or I'm going to sell this, you know, $50 wholesale shoe for $100, and then, you know, come December you're selling it for $60.
You want to know what's crazy though? Talking about that, it's like my favorite Invincible is the original Invincible, and they've made so many more better changes to it, everybody says, but I have searched the web from north to south to try to get the original one, like buy 5, 6, 7, 8 pair of them. Can't find them.
Gone.
What happens to all these shoes? You know, like even on eBay.
How old's that shoe now? Like 5 years? 4 years?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, might just be getting low on.
They're gone. That's gone.
Especially,
well, but
you
no,
got a common
I'm saying,
size.
but I'm saying as soon as I was doing this after they come out with the Invisible 2 or whatever. Like I was on there trying to find all the ones. Done. Gone. Couldn't find them.
Yeah. So and sometimes the management of it is really good. Like I've had, you know, we get to the end of like a shoe's life. And you know, I'm hitting up Mizuno or Brooks. And they're like, no, we're sold out of them. You know, so then at that point, you're going, you know, so imagine, you know, say there's 10,000 stores in the country, and, you know, each store is going, oh crap, they're sold out, you know. So sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they get the you know, the forecasting. They would always come in and they say, hey, we're forecasting 10% more of what we did last year. Yeah. So if they did, you know, in your size shoe and they did 10,000 of them, well, they might do 10,000 and, you know, one or whatever. But yeah, it's tricky, man. Like, I don't, but yeah, I think that's what you see is like, I would get to the end of the year, or, you know.
Well, I think Hoka was like it sounded like they were the worst offender out of all that. Because, you know, to me, all their shoes are, they're all like 15 millimeter stacked, but then they're all like the Recon, the Clifton, the Clifton 2. Like,
but that's the thing, right? Is like, how do you, we always called it the big five. You know, it was Asics, Brooks, Nike.
Was Adidas in there?
I think Adidas was sitting on the outside. Yeah. I think Mizuno was kind of sitting on the outside. Anyways, it was the big four or big five, and, you know, all the other vendors would come in and go, how do we crack the Saucony? Yeah, Saucony. How do we crack this nut? How do we get into the big five? And, you know, dude, I would always look at them and I said, you know, I'd point at my employees. I'm saying, they sell the shoes. Yeah. I know your shoe's just as good, right? Like, you know, it's because, you know, the guys the design guys, they would change jobs. Just like, you know, if you had a forklift driver, he's going to a different company. You know, the dude that used to be making all the Adidas shoes, he's making the Brooks shoes now. You know, so the shoes are good, right? So yeah, it was just like, how do I get your employees to sell them? I'm like, well, you got to go talk to them, you know, get them in a pair, and then they'll sell them. But yeah, I think everybody was, you know, it was a bad time, man. But yeah, I would always get toward the end of it, and I'd be like, well, what's the margin on something you don't sell?
Yeah,
nothing. So I would just be like, dude, I paid for this shoe over a year ago. Yeah, I just need to make $10 on it now.
For sure. Yeah. Same thing.
So yeah, you would try to, you know, I usually tried to do, like, you know, buy multiples, and you get kind of a little bit better price, you know, because then again,
I mean, that's crazy to think, you know, if you're only making 50% on a $100 shoe, you're making $50. That's a lot of shoes to pay for rent.
Totally,
every month, and then employees.
Dude.
You know, and then for you to go ride your bike for 5 hours a day. And
no, man, hindsight, you know, it should have been.
Or it's a ton of gels and
I should have
socks and
shrunk down a little bit quicker, sooner. But yeah, I think you're looking at it that way. But we sold a lot of shoes, man. I can't remember the numbers right offhand, but I mean, yeah, we at the height we did $1.2 million in sales. So how many shoes is that? You know, if the shoe's $120, I mean that's 10,000 shoes. Is that right? Yeah.
But I mean, the average price of a shoe now is so much more expensive. Yeah. I mean, they're like, even, you know, I love the Asics, like Fast Twitch or something like that. You know, it's you know, that's essentially an $80 shoe. I mean, that same shoe now is $120, $110.
Yeah, I always joke with Cody about that. He's the guy that owns the St. Pete store, running store, and he's like, "Oh, we're up 10%," and I'm like, "Well, aren't all the shoes prices up 10%?" You know, or I'm like, all right, you know, but to be honest, in that industry, man, if you're staying, you know, flat or even ticking up a tiny bit.
No, that's awesome, because one day, you know, that's what's sad is the brick and mortar stores are going to be gone. The American dream, almost, for say, is going to be gone. Like, you know, it's going to be just big corporations and big. Yeah, it's sad.
It's just going to be Amazon.
Amazon, or even like even big stores like, you know, Dick's and stuff. Like, they can't compete with
sport. I mean, the year I went out, Sports Authority went out right before me. Yeah, the problem is, Sports Authority went out of business. Yeah. Their shoes were already made and on the boat. Oof. So that all that stuff, you know, it was like a perfect storm. Like, all that stuff was coming. Yeah. Well, where did all those shoes go? They went online for a discount, man. I mean, and so, you know, you're going, yeah, man, I can find my old shoe here for 40% off. Well, why would you go buy the new one? Yeah.
No, 100%.
You know, unless you have that loyalty to the that store, but then
and I'm, obviously once you find a shoe that you like, then you just order it and get sent to your house.
Right.
You might go in and get fitted and everything, and buy one shoe from.
But here's what I'd throw at you, right? Like if you were my customer, right? I would say, because I'd have people come in, they're like, "Oh, I've been wearing the Nike Pegasus for 20 years," and I'd look at them and like, "Have you changed in 20 years?" And they, and so for you, it would have been like, "Hey, dude, this is your shoe right now, but I'm gonna let you know, you're gonna get lighter, you're gonna get stronger." Right, and your mechanics are going to change. You're going to become more efficient. Yeah. So this might not be your shoe next time, right? And it's a true story. I'm obviously selling you on my business, but I'm going, hey, we recommend every year you come back in, get refitted, because your things are going to change. And I mean, I would definitely, you lost 30 pounds or you lost 40 pounds or whatever. When you run, it's 4 times your body weight. Yeah. So, dude, you have all of a sudden now you have 100 pounds less force coming down. Well, you might not pronate as much anymore, right? You don't have to give off. So, yeah, dude, don't get me going. But, you would be that customer. I'd be like, hey, brother, I know you're still looking for that old shoe, but you probably should, or if you put on 20 pounds, that Pegasus probably ain't going to work anymore, No,
I get it for sure.
But, and so that's where I think, dude, I think that's where the mom and pop's got to be really creative with this and go, Cody always says we just keep them close to the register. Yeah. Group runs at the store and socials like we always did. Crap, I forget. It was like a monthly thing, but it was like we'd bring in somebody like Mike Ryan, and we're like, hey, Mike Ryan's here to talk about foam rolling, and dude, we'd have wine and and a massage therapist there, and then we'd run a little sale, and Mike would dude's brilliant. Yeah. Let him talk for a half hour, and so man, I mean there's some cool stuff out there. It's just all about being creative with it. So
that is a fact.
You gotta get to a captain's meeting?
I do. I need to go. It's 4:30.
So what do you got? What do you got going on this weekend?
Fishing a tournament, King Buster mackerel tournament. It's out of Jack's, but you're allowed to put in St. Mary's or Volano or Jack's. We're supposed to be a 2-day tournament. The main event on Saturday and the junior angle on Sunday, but the weather, this forecast has been crappy, and so we're combining everything to Sunday. So I got to go. The captain's meeting's pretty crazy tonight, just because we're going to figure out the rules, the new.
You guys have it at Hooters or where's
no,
it?
Marine Max. No, Marine Max. It was the captain's meeting tonight.
I haven't been to that strip club before.
Mike. No. So, but I got to wrap up, but I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, I gotta.
They were good.
I'm trying to go hit golf balls.
Huh?
I think it sounded like it was raining out a little bit ago.
Yeah, I know. So 2.5 hours of good talking with Owen.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate coming in.
Christening the first guest 001.
Dude, that was fun, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Well, yeah, I think we'll have to get you on when we get a couple. I know we had talked about a couple of your buddies that have some good stories. Yeah. So we'll have to. You can come in and just poke them the whole time.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then I appreciate it.
Yep.
I appreciate it a lot.
Cool. All right, well, make sure you guys follow.
Yeah. So what's all your socials and all that good stuff?
Oh man, just Shop Performance Coaching. I'm an endurance coach, so coach anything that has anything to do with endurance. If it's running, cycling, I've been involved with endurance sports for 30 years. Been coaching for probably 15. I've owned a running store. Just owned a coaching business, from the ground up. So, yeah, dude, just check them out. And if there's any questions, hit me up. You can always drop in the DMs,
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Appreciate it,
everybody.
See you guys.
Later.
Good stuff, man. That was fun.
Thank you.